You guys really
Go, Mickey.
Welcome to MMA Sucks. I am James Benton. With me always is the submission machine, Johnny Irish. Our special guest today is Bad News Bo Kunz. All right, guys, we've been gone for a couple of weeks. Johnny, Dan got arrested for showing his dick to a bunch of kindergartners, and I was in rehab.
To be
So,
fair, they were asking for it.
yeah, they were asking for it, and he's the right height for it. I got no. Basically, what happened was just trying to schedules, things like that, the holidays. So sorry we didn't get that show in last week. I know a couple of people were wanting to hear us talk about some of the news that's been happening locally, and I felt bad because I definitely wanted to get to it because we definitely have some stuff to talk about and a lot of props to throw out there. Something that I know a lot of promoters, but more guys who are just kind of really from the commission side of things, you know, from the sanctioning bodies, we're a little worried about the growth of amateurs in the area and saying, hey, you know, who's going to take over the divisions once these last few kingpins leave the division to go pro? Who's going to fill in that spot? And right now, St. Louis wasn't fitting the bill. They were not developing enough strong amateurs to take over the divisions. But I think that's starting to go away. I think we're really starting to see some young kids come up, and we're starting to see some future champions out there, some future amateur champions. First thing we want to talk about is from a couple of weeks ago. Knuckle Junk put out a power ranking system that I guess they used a combination of voodoo and coolness. That's a real important one. Voter bias and accomplishments. At the top is Tyron Woodley. That kind of makes sense. I don't think anybody has a problem with that. You guys, you have any problem with Tyron Woodley being on the top as far as the St. Louis power ranking goes?
Coolness, he's definitely at the top. I mean, his movie was phenomenal. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. He was in a movie. He was like henchman number 6, 12, and 13 in Olympus Has Fallen. So that's pretty awesome. He won his first fight in the UFC against Jay Heron, a quick 30-second knockout, and then kind of lost that really weird non-fight that Jake Shields put on. I know Tyron definitely feels like he won that fight. Jake Shields was clearly looking to evade and score quick points and move, but I mean, no one wants to see that fight. Well, it was anti-fighting. You know, it was Jake Shields clearly went down to Greg Jackson's for a couple of weeks to train for that fight. But what about you, Bo? What do you feel? You feel Tyron can be the St. Louis kingpin as far as accomplishments and credentialing, what he's done so far? Where's his buzz at? All that kind of crap.
I think he's definitely helped putting it on the, keeping us on the map and really putting forth, the big gym and getting guys here to train with his guys and bringing our guys up to train with his. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, about who's the best. I mean,
well, it's not exactly who's the best, because if it was, based on that, clearly it would just say 10 spots of James Benton over and over and over again. You know, the biggest arms, the best charm. I'm sorry, I'm stealing Chael Sonnen shit. But Chael does steal from superstar Billy Graham, so it's okay. Just borrowing.
Free game.
So everybody's down with Tyron Woodley being on top. I know a lot of people said, well, what about Mike Chandler? Mike Chandler was not included in this list because he's moved out of the area, although he's originally from this area. You know, wonderful high school wrestler, turned it into an excellent career or excellent stint over at Mizzou, and now he's doing a great job fighting, and he's the really the fighter, the 155er in the world that people want to really see in the UFC. No, they really want to see Eddie Alvarez over there too, but they want to see Michael Chandler in the UFC. But right now, I hear that he's really happy in Bellator, and he's like the only fighter I've heard say that they're happy with Bellator. But I digress. Also, Justin Lawrence and Barb Honchek were not added to this list because they've since moved out of the area, and they didn't want to overly confuse things. Okay, moving down the list, go ahead.
Well, it's their fucking rankings, and if you don't like it, fuck off. So that's the way they should play it, and go from there. Barb, again, I agree she should be on the list because I'm biased and I like Barb. So I'd put her on the list. I like Michael Chandler on the list, but they could have. I mean, it's their list. They get to decide who they think is on there, and I mean, those guys aren't training in Missouri anymore, so.
Yeah, I could see a little bit of an argument for, say Barb or even Justin. Mike hasn't really been a St. Louis fixture as a fighter. You know, he went to Columbia, he fought in Columbia a few times, and then he went big time, and he went big time quick. Yeah. You know, he definitely came down. You know, he was out here training for a little while. I mean, I remember working out with him a good 4 or 5 times. Hell, he would go in and get jiu-jitsu tips from my buddy John Thomas, who's out with Alliance now. Former Vaggie student, now he's down at Alliance, and you know, yeah. I mean, everybody. If you don't know who John Thomas is, you don't know shit about grappling. Now, Bo, do you know who John Thomas is?
Yeah, dude, you just told me.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, he's the guy that you don't think would be good at grappling at all. He's a ginger kid. Like this skinny, dorky math geek kid that is really amazing jiu-jitsu guy. This kid went from a guy who I used to coach and help out, and now he's teaching me shit every time I see him, man. And I get a couple of guys to take privates with him, and then I'll go in there and hang out the whole time, and then I get like 3 weeks worth of teaching plans for the next for my make my life easy. Yeah. So hey, if you see me over at your gym hanging out, I'm actually just scoping out what you do, so it's easier for me to go teach something else the next week at my gym. So I don't have to think that much. Kids. I'm just copying off the smart kids. All right, we'll keep it going. Number 2 on the list, Josh Sampo. I think every single fighter that we've had on the show has said that it is an utter travesty that Josh Sampo is not in the UFC. But more importantly, that random Brazilian girl that Liz Carmouche beat the shit out of is. So, go girl power, right?
It is complete bullshit again with Sampo. Love that fucking kid, man. He's tough as shit, and he's just I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if Dana White just doesn't like his face or what it is, because he obviously needs to be there.
He's not hiring any 25ers right now. They're not bringing – Tim Elliott was like the last 25er they brought in.
But he has 25ers that can be easily destroyed by Sampo. Like, easily.
He doesn't care.
And that's where it really sits. He's going to bring in the girls. He's going to pump up the girls. He said today on something I was reading that 45% of the viewership is females. And at the fights, 45% of the people, there's chicks coming in on girl dates to Vegas to watch fucking UFC fights and all the
I think it's more guys bringing their girlfriends to the show because the girls want to go to Vegas.
Yeah, but they also were talking about there's a big article on Knuckle Junk, or not Knuckle Junk, is the Underground today that said they was talking about the MMA erotica and the weird shit with that all the chicks now are writing about coming in and doing MMA and how the sayings, the moves we do, and the rear naked chokes and the mounting position is like S&M and everything. So they're actually trying to target more women with weird shit like erotica books, including MMA, and supposedly it's selling. So I don't know.
So it's like 50 Shades of MMA.
50 Shades of MMA.
Yeah. All right. Well, does anybody have a problem with Josh Sampo at 2?
Fuck no.
No, I think he's got a lot of hype right now, and I think he's well known across the board. I think he's known. People know who he is. I think that's a good thing. 3, we got Alp. Alp is coming off a big win over Antonio Bueneles, but a lot of people are saying, since Antonio dropped down to 25, he really lost a step. It's bullshit because all he did was run into the gruesome twosome, man. People don't realize that Alp and Sampo are on the same fucking team and have been training together for years.
And it's fucking awesome to watch them go at it. They fucking get it. They set the bar when they're fucking going at it.
Oh, I know, man. It's like, have you ever? It's like taking two ferrets and sticking them in there with each other. Have you ever seen them do like their little war dances where they start prancing side to side and shit like that? That's like that's Josh Sampo. And then I'm afraid to talk shit on Out, man. My dad used to tell me stories of crazy Turkish dudes in Vietnam and shit like that, and I'm like, I don't fuck with the Turks, man. They they're a lovely people.
Alps
Uh,
on a tear. I agree. He should be right around there. 3 is a pretty
he
good number
doesn't
for him.
he doesn't have he doesn't have the quite the hype though. You know, he doesn't have the hype. So, I mean, not as many people are starting to know him, but at least people have talked about him in a positive manner on like the underground forum, you know, and the underground forums where you go you know, I mean, that's where people are talking, you know, like, I mean, that's the hub of fight talk.
Personally, I think me and you need to write for them on their Twitter and Facebook. Just take over their fucking accounts, and we'll just start talking shit to people, and we'll start writing it up. I think the fact that they don't call people out enough or properly or with enough entertainment is a big issue. Alp obviously should fight Campuzano, and Campuzano's scared. So he called him out, but the fact that people weren't paying attention to it, I think he needs to amp it up a notch or have somebody write for him even might be able to get it on the radar if he starts talking enough shit properly.
Well, I know what happened when Campuzano decided not to defend his title and vacate his title. Once both sides of the story were out, both Legacies and Campuzano's side of the story, it seemed like the fans were kind of like, for once, we're actually siding with the promoter, and that's bullshit, and that he's not one of those hard. And the truth is, Campuzano got lucky with Sampo. He was getting dominated. Everybody in St. Louis fucking knows that. He was getting dominated, and he landed, you know, just like Drew Fickett got lucky with fucking Koscheck, you know? And so then now they're like, oh, well, he has a win over Josh Sampo, and Sample's doing all these great things, thus, you know, through some kind of, you know, fucking transitive property of fucking MMA. It's a math term, guys. Now all of a sudden Campuzano's getting hype when he really hasn't won the bigger fights. You know, definitely compared to Sampo. And Sample's like, well, let's fight again. Oh, we won't do that. You know, and he's gonna end up having to fight him again if they both end up in the UFC. So it wouldn't be not a good fight. Keep going. We're down to number 4. We've got Adam Sella. This is kind of an interesting pick in that he's actually the least experienced in the pro division of fights on here. What sets Sell apart is that he's got literally it was about 40 amateur striking matches, and he's got about 10 amateur fights, something like that. He's got a bunch of amateur fights. And he also did a stint on The Ultimate Fighter. It's really unfortunate that he had a really tough fight in there with drawing Uriah Hall. He got clipped with that spinning kick, but then the UFC gave him a chance and to come back. But then they bring him to fight on that Sweden show against a Swedish fighter. Is his name Tor or Thor? I thought it was pronounced Thor.
I thought it was pronounced Thor also.
Okay, yeah. And so they bring him in. He ends up losing by rear naked choke in that fight. A lot of fighters are going to come out for that and you know, freak out. Sella didn't. You know, he went right back to where he grew up, which is over at Finney's and on the Shamrock Show over at the. I believe that fight was at the Lumiere. It might have been at River City. Yeah, was that River City? Okay, so you know, right where, you know, back in his home field advantage. They brought Justin DeMoney in, who is as my unnamed friend calls him. What does he say? He calls him just in it for the money. Just in it for the money. Anyway, no, Justin's actually got a very solid record, something like 16-4. Had lost to Adam Sella's instructor, Jesse Finney. And I mean, this fight, to me, it looked like it was you have a striker that is game, that likes to get in there and throw, versus a better striker that knows how to throw it from angles, and a lot better fighter. So I wasn't surprised when Adam walked over him, but it was good to see him get a win and get refocused and get in there. I think one of the more interesting things about Adam is how hot his girlfriend is. I'm told. I haven't seen her myself, but I actually have talked to people. It's like, yeah, did you see Sellers fight? And they're like, within 4 minutes of the conversation, somebody will say that his girlfriend's really hot too. I've never seen it. Have you guys ever seen his girlfriend before?
I think I've seen pictures of her, and if I remember correctly, she is fucking hot.
She's very so. Congratulations, Adam, on the number 4 slot and on a very hot girlfriend. And
I'll tell you. Let me talk a little bit on Adam, because I know a little bit of stuff about him. First of all, he was the first guy to actually take it to Uriah Hall. Everybody else was terrified of this guy. For whatever reason, maybe he was just fucking people up in practice. He knew what this guy could do, and they were scared to fight him. He was the first guy to actually go in and try and actually fight Uriah Hall, and it didn't seem like the guys previous to Adam did. Second of all, Adam is getting tattooed by one of my sponsors Saturday, Aaron Blow at Diablo Week, so he has good taste in tattoos. So like him on that kind of also. And the hot girlfriend, love clap.
I think he tweeted that he's a finalist on the Wheel of Fortune too.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uriah Hall was just a beast that entire competition. He was really in the zone, but then, it's a lot different fighting in front of an environment where you're comfortable with the people. It's just you and the fighters, and yeah, it's a very aggressive environment, but it's not the same as being in front of 17,000 people. And when Uriah went out in front of 17,000 people, he seemed like he was very good at what he was good at, but not as complete. I'm sure a lot of the guys on the show would wish they could go back and fight him in front of that crowd, and like Bubba McDaniels or something like that, who's been in front of the crowd a lot of times. And
then his fight with Doomsday. So
up
then too, it looked like.
Oh, I know, man. It was like a fucking Johnny Tapia fight. If you guys ever watch boxing, man, the guy goes out and touches gloves maybe a fucking 130 times a fucking fight, and I'm not even kidding about that. It's like every single good punch, glove tap. It was Johnny Tapia. Which is funny that he'd be so nice in the ring and then have such a crazy life and upbringing and eventual death. You guys go ahead and Wikipedia Johnny Tapia. You should know that. Not you guys. I mean, just the ones and ones of people that are actually listening to this. We're not even.
Oh, what the fuck are you doing?
And tens. Yeah, Bo's over there fucking.
He's like playing Scrabble or some shit.
He's like fucking John McCain. He's playing video poker. We're over here fucking talking about Syria and bombing dudes that fucking eat human hearts and shit like that. And you're over there playing video poker. That happened, by the way. If anybody yeah, true story. John McCain playing video poker during discussions of war with Syria.
And he was like, "Scandal! I even lost, dude." He gets paid like fucking $300,000. He's playing fucking video poker.
I know, man. It's ridiculous. All right, keep going. We got Zach Freeman, 7-1. His one loss is to, ironically, my former student Jake Lindsay. When I was working for the Army, I trained at a gym out in Manhattan, Kansas, and one of the young kids that we brought up was Jake the Librarian Lindsay. They both kind of had a rough fight. They both were real stiff out there, and it just happened to be that Jake landed a little clipping shot and dropped Freeman. Freeman, though, has really looked good in the first 2 rounds of all his bigger fights that he's had, saying the Robert Washington fight, and then the fight with oh geez, I'm drawing a blank. Daddy Longlegs. What am I talking? You guys. I got his name. Andrew Darrow. Yeah. Andrew Darrow. Yeah. So and then, but even the 3rd round of Aaron Darrow, he buckled in and did the right things and realized he was going to get hit. I think a lot of what Zach Freeman does is just get very tense out there, and he's not relaxing. He's not he's not getting in there and getting in the motions and getting the fluidity. He's out there and he's getting real stiff the whole time, and he keeps himself in really good shape, so he's able to push for a good 10 minutes, 12 minutes, but then he's fading in the third, and that's something that he's really going to have to work on. He's a great fighter, a great guy, definitely deserves to be on this list, but it's something he needs to really figure out before he's really hitting any bigger fights at this point.
Well, Ben, I got a question for you. You might know this more than I do. What kind of warm-up is he doing right before the fight? Do you think it's something that he needs to get that first burst of energy out of him and come out after that? Because that's one of the things that I have to do, because if I don't warm up real hard, I come out and I'm just stale.
Well, Bo Kunz actually has a very interesting method. He likes to be really relaxed and focused when he gets in there, but he gets jittery sometimes. So I heard he goes into the bathroom and rubs one out before he goes out there and fights.
Totally.
It's better than smoking a joint like some of our other previous guys.
Oh, you're looking down your nose at him. You thought it was good. That's another thing. The Nevada State Athletic Commission has decided to up the tolerance of weed smoking, so really guys will be able to smoke probably up until 3 weeks out from their fight.
Pat Healy had to be the fucking martyr for that.
Oh, I know, $130,000. I think that was
his culmination of that fucking huge career he's had under everywhere. He's
get that first win in the UFC and be able to really, it was awesome.
My heart went out to that guy. That was horrible for a fucking joint. He lost $130,000. You can murder somebody and not lose $130,000.
Fucking OJ lost a lot more than that.
Oh yes, but I'm sure the
OJ had more money to lose though.
That's true. Because you got a guy like Pat who's out in the fucking woods with his Irish setter fucking hunting dog, and he just runs around and fucking plays in creeks and shit. So $130,000 is a lot of fucking money to him because he doesn't do anything other than hang out in the fucking woods.
Yeah, I don't see how he I don't know how a fighter could stay motivated after a big hit like that.
And he's fighting soon, ain't he? I believe he's fighting.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. He should be fighting real soon. Yeah. All right, keep it going. We got Lance Benoist. So that is out of 6 fighters, we've got 4 from St. Charles MMA and 1 fighter that frequently trained at St. Charles MMA. Although
this shit's fucking biased, man.
Yeah, it's fucking more that Knuckle Junk fucking bias there. That's some fucking bullshit.
If the next one's fucking St. Charles MMA, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Lance Benoist, obviously first fighter in the St. Louis area to win a fight in the UFC, which is fucking crazy. Back in the day, CJ Fernandez actually had a draw, but they never brought him back after that. So a lot of people thought that he won that fight. CJ is one of the old school guys in the area, has been fighting or was fighting out of the area as early as I want to say 98, 99, I believe, is when he was having his first fight. From St. Louis area. Lance is been riddled with injury and had a lot of bad luck and setbacks in his personal life and things like that, but still goes out there and performs and gives excellent performances. He's not getting finished. He is 1-2 in the UFC. I think he won the Basinski fight, and he almost won the Sean Pearson fight. We've talked about it a million times. Lance belongs somewhere on this list, but with his injury, I don't know where he belongs on this list. I guess we're not really saying that, who belongs on the list and who doesn't. We're just kind of talking about it.
It's a hell of a list here.
Yeah, let's just fast forward this bullshit. Matt Ricehouse, everybody knows Matt Ricehouse. He really, truly is one of the most complete fighters in not only the St. Louis area, but in the country. And his biggest problem is that he's fucking as weak as a newborn calf. I fucking swear. He is the least powerful 145er pro that I've trained with, which is really funny because he's had all his fights at 55. Matt does everything on sheer talent and skill set. He stood toe-to-toe with Bobby Green, who, pounded his way through through fucking Christmas, Jacob Volkman, who it was like what 4-1 in the UFC, and so Bobby Green is a very, very tough fighter, and Matt hung in there with him the whole time. And if you look at Matt kept the punch stats relatively close. He was just a much weaker fighter. So it's something that Matt's going to have to work on. His power, his explosion. He's pretty goddamn fast, but it's just based off of skill. I mean, he's just not a powerful guy.
He throws a lot of punches. He doesn't throw a lot of power punches, but he throws a lot of punches. Yeah. He's a tough kid, man. He went against one of my friends, Bill Cooper, and I said it before, they had a really shitty they had a really shitty they really had a really shitty game plan for him, and they thought I was a spy sent by St. Charles MMA to California for the 6 months I was there. Like, we had the kind of money to send me out there for 6 months and spy on Bill Cooper after he lost the fight. That's what they thought happened. I watched him set up their game plan, and I'm like, he's a world jiu-jitsu guy. Why are you trying to get him to strike and knock people out? Get him to take somebody down and choke. And we saw what happened. So,
I mean, the mystique of the champion jiu-jitsu players it's a little bit gone. I mean, ever since Don Fry versus Amari Batet, Don was able to use superior wrestling to keep it on the feet and land punches. I know some people would say, well, obviously we have a lot of great jiu-jitsu guys like Damian Maia, Jacare, but all those guys have really completed their game out, and they're well-rounded. They're not just diving over and over and over again for takedowns. They're comboing their wrestling into they're comboing their punches into good wrestling. And with that being said, Damian Maia and Jacare were known in the jiu-jitsu world for being excellent takedown guys. Okay, a lot of these guys that come in and they make their career off of pulling guard, that shit does not fly when somebody's punching in the face. Yeah, it'll work when fucking, some random dude at a Pizza Hut wants to start some shit with you, but it's not gonna work against a high level guy. And we saw that with fights. What happened with Roger Gracie. Now, Tim Kennedy is a wonderful grappler in his own right, but he was able to systematically shut down Hodger. Now, I have a lot of respect for Tim Kennedy, kind of knowing him from the military world, but if you watch his fight with Lawler, Robbie Lawler, when have you ever seen a fighter gas somebody out by repetitively shooting in on them over and over and over and over again? It's like, Tim Kennedy broke him with takedowns, and normally it's the other way around. The guy gets stuffed 4 or 5 times, and then all of a sudden he's huffing and puffing, and Tim Kennedy has zero fucking quit in him. So I like Tim Kennedy. I think that he can be a good fighter, and I think his height is gonna keep him out of the top 5, but I think he can win some big fights for sure. Keeping on the list, we got Jake Collier. Jake Collier's biggest problem is he lives too fucking far away from everybody to get the hype that he needs. He's way out in the middle of nowhere. They're maximizing what they have with the training. He's trying to get out there and train and stuff like that, but it's really difficult for him to stay motivated when he's not getting the opportunities. He's 7-1 now. I would love to see Jake Collier in a big fight. He's a fucking wonderful fighter. At the Pit, they've done a great job with him, and he's isolated. He's out, and people don't know who he is, and it just sucks because he's a great fighter, and with the injury after the Quarter Stitz fight, it's been nothing but a tough road for him.
Coming into his town in Cuba, Missouri, there's nothing there. I mean, the sign should read home of Jake Collier and float trips. There's nothing to fucking be had in Cuba, Missouri. It is fucking 25 people. It's ridiculous.
In drunk fest on the river.
That's in float trips, man.
Every fucking weekend drunk fest.
That's it, though. I mean, it's float trips and Jake Collier. That's the 2 things that you go to Cuba. I mean, that's the 2 things that come out of Cuba. I mean, it's just a hillbilly-ass fucking town. And I know Jake Collier's going to kick my ass for saying it, but it's true. So,
It's the kind of place where a man's best friend is his dog.
Or his sheep.
Keep going. We got Luigi Fioravante. I actually think Luigi should probably be higher on the list. I know he doesn't have a whole lot of buzz right now in this area, but he just beat Edwin Aguilera, who was a very highly touted Muay Thai fighter. Luigi went out there, dropped the hands on him, spun him around to the ground, jumped on his back, and got the rear naked choke. I mean, I think that's a great win. He was set up to fight Stump. That he had a food poisoning issue, so that fell through. Stump got the fight in Canada, so we didn't get to see that fight happen. So Luigi's back in action on Shamrock's card on the 12th of October, so we get to see him fight again. And I just really feel like with Luigi's background and what he's done, I would have put him higher on this list, even though the buzz side of things is kind of quiet. He's truly an amazing, well-rounded, complete fighter.
Now, what constitutes being on the list is the question, because he isn't from St. Louis, obviously.
He's living, teaching, and fighting out of the area now.
Now, yeah. I mean, being in the last year, are we going off of what he's done since he's been in St. Louis, or what he's done in the past?
So, yeah, okay.
If we're doing something in the past, then maybe we should be looking at guys that retired. And were fighters that went to the UFC or Bellator or what have you.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Just
my thought. I mean, again, it's Knuckle Junkie's list, and those guys can do whatever the fuck they want. So.
Well, even then, and then we start including people that have lived in St. Louis but no longer here. You know, we're talking. You know, we would talk about Jake Hecht. We could talk about Robbie Lawler, for that matter. Sure. Robbie Lawler's not that far away, and if that was the case, I would put him at number 1.
Yeah, why is he on fucking this thing?
Yeah, he's what, you know, he's definitely top 10 right now at 170, you know, and I definitely would put Robbie Lawler in there, especially the win over Koscheck. The win over Volker was not surprising. He just looked so good in that fight that you would definitely have to put if we were allowing for that, Robbie Lawler would definitely have to be number 1 on the list for
Absolutely.
sure. And then finally, we've got a tie with Chris Heatherly, Stump, and Eric Irving. You know, he's the Eric Irving's the people's champion. You know, he's the guy that's out there. You know, he's the Bruce Springsteen of MMA, St. Louis MMA. He's out there. You know, with he takes the fight, he fights a fight, he gets very little love from, some outside source, like some random company's going to go, hey, we're going to help you out, we're going to get you to the next level, here's a bunch of supplements, here's a bunch of free this, free that, this is what can help you, we're going to pay for this. Eric doesn't get any of that shit, and he goes out there and he fights a fight. He got that big fight with Charlie Brenneman, his first fight at 55, and he was like, okay, I know I'm going to go into his hometown, and there's a very good chance that this guy's gonna bring the thunder to me, but guess what? I'm going to fight the fight, and I'm going to keep fighting until the end of it. And he did, and he did lose that one, but then turned around and came back and won his next fight. Beat Adam Ward, who's 11-4, I believe, and a good fighter out of the Chicago area. He was supposed to be fighting on next week's show. I don't know what happened to him. The Knuckle Junkies just informed me that Eric was supposed to fight Saturday, but got injured wrestling a mountain lion. So
wrestling, trying to have sex with, whatever.
No means no, Eric. No means no.
Little known fact, Eric was one of the big reasons we got kicked off the fucking internet. He's so awesome. He got me and Benton kicked off the internet.
I know, man. It was great. He's
out there fighting
the mountain lions, man. I told him to go find himself some hot pussy after he got divorced, not a fucking mountain lion. He likes that shit angry. Also, there's a rumor going around that Eric was only put on this list just to piss off Stump fans. Any comment, Dan?
I like Eric. I love his ear. I've told you many times that I love the fuck his ear. No, I think he's right around where he should be. I'd like to see Stump a little higher, but maybe after he gets another win or two, he'd be a little bit higher. I'd love to have seen him fight Luigi. Now, I was the one that told Stump that Luigi got sick. I watched him pass out in the hallway. There was a bunch of speculation that he was bullshitting. That guy fell sideways, headfirst into a concrete wall. You don't fake that shit. So,
Dan, did you poison him?
I can't speculate on that. I can't comment on that.
Dan poisoned Luigi. Yeah, no, it's the speculation. I love the speculation. Oh, he's afraid of Stump. The dude has fought a who's list of MMA, but he's afraid of fucking Stump. I'm sorry, guys. You got to get off fucking Facebook. And I know Stump didn't believe he was fucking scared of him. It was just like, okay, something happened that sucks. You know, all the foreplay and no sex. So I know Stump was upset, but it wasn't one of those things where he's like, okay, it happened, and I'm just going to take his word for it. A little
shit on Luigi. Who the fuck eats Mexican food after weigh-ins?
Oh, well.
You seen what Stump did? He fucking took it.
I don't know. Maybe a guy who's a 9-time UFC vet, you know?
And that's what he gets, though. Fucking eating Mexican food in St. Louis.
You seen Stump? He didn't worry about it. He jumped right on a fight card and took on somebody's hometown. Took on a hometown badass from Canada. So, I mean,
and
now he's come back and he's ready. Right, he's ready to do it again. So, I mean, that's solid. He ain't worried about that shit, I don't think.
Yeah, Stump had a small setback, but now he's immediately back in there doing it again. We've got him fighting Josh Weston this weekend. This ironically was something that I was saying should have happened. They were originally fishing, trying to get the fight with Kevin Engel. Some things came up. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hopefully, big things are happening for Kevin. Can't hate on that. Don't want to say anything because nothing's for sure. But hopefully, good things are happening for him, and there's some opportunities for him. And I think it was important for him to take those.
I think that Weston fight was set up a long time ago, though. So I know they were all saying Kevin Engel, but I think it was. I told them before I didn't think that fight was going to go through, and so he'd be fighting Weston. So whatever happened, though.
They offered me Weston. They wanted me to take Weston on my pro debut, and we just didn't think that was a good fight right out the gates. I'll definitely fight him later on, but just not right this second.
Well, the key with Weston. If you're a tough, solid wrestler or jiu-jitsu player yourself, Weston's not going to finish you. He's going to sit there and he's going to do the he's going to do the Kevin Randleman boss route and beatdown style. He's going to sit there and work the ground and pound. So the key with this fight is it's all going to come down to who's a better wrestler, Josh Weston or Stump.
I like Weston. Stump wins that fight.
It's like it's not even an issue. It's like who's a better wrestler. That's all it is. That's all it is. Who's a better wrestler.
Weston's a good dude. He trained at Burgers for a while. He came in with his boxing coach and came and trained, and I like him a lot. He's a great guy. I don't like the fight for him. I think he needs to get more fights under him with tougher opponents before he took on somebody like Stump. But I applaud him for taking the fight, and I could be completely wrong.
I will counter with this. Stump hasn't necessarily had the bigger fights himself. This is not a bad fight. I mean, who's Stump in his pro career? What's his biggest win?
Well, he fought.
Probably Gert.
He fought. Gert? That was a good one. But.
Which, he almost had that finish in the first round. Obviously, I guess a punch slipped to the back of the head or something like that. But that fight was like seconds from stop. Yeah, that was really kind of,
Sal Woods was I like the Sal Woods fight. The Sean Huffman fight I wasn't a big fan of. But the Sal Woods, Sal's
Oh, no, he looked, yeah, I know. But Sal can be hit or miss too. And with his record, is that somebody that you can consider the bigger fight? Now, I would say between the two of them, Stump has had the bigger fights. Yeah. My point being is that I think this is a great fight for both guys. I think it's one of those kind of like, okay, both these guys have had some pro fights, and now let's start stepping the competition up. Clearly, if you include the loss to Garcia, Stump has been in the cage with a better fighter. But we're going to go strictly on the wins right there. So I think this is a fine fight. I think it's good for both of their careers. If Stump wins this, I think it's great for his career. If Weston wins it, it's great for his career. For me, I haven't seen Weston recently. I don't know where his wrestling's at. If his wrestling's on point and
Wrestling's
it's
good.
better than Stump, for me, Weston is a power based guy that likes to do a lot of head and arms and push you into the cage and pull your legs out. But when people were able to technically stuff those with technical wrestling, I didn't see a whole lot out of him. But that was during his amateur career. I've never seen Weston as a pro yet, so it's not really fair for me to say. But it's clearly good. If Weston doesn't let his hands go fully, Stump doesn't let his hands go fully yet either in his fights. But so both guys have the ability to strike. They just haven't quite let the gym version of themselves out.
Correct.
So, I think it's a great fight for both guys.
I will say, Weston can win the fight. He absolutely can win that fight. I don't
think he wins it entertainingly at all.
Well, we'll see how Stump comes back from a loss like that. It gets in a lot of people's heads. He may fuck him up too. We don't know. We've never
seen
him
man.
lose one time, Bo?
What's
like
that?
lose. We've seen Stump lose like one time legitimately get stopped. And that was an amateur.
Is that his first amateur loss? Or the
Yeah,
Tony
he had
Sodders
one
loss?
amateur loss and
he had two losses, one to Sodders and one to which one was the one that you were saying was a legitimate
I can't
Sodders
hear.
one?
Bo's going nuts and I can't hear what he says. Souders stopped him. Souders stopped him with a guillotine.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Did you ever finger over the microphone?
I was just saying that Stump's a powerhouse. He's going to power through this. He's, I just don't see him like it. It humbled him. He needed to lose. As a pro, he was looking for the big fight. He jumped up. He took an excellent. He took a fight against St. Pierre's top guy out of Canada. It was no little pushover fight that he just took up there. He was out of his elements. I think he comes back home here. I think he walks right through Weston and looks for somebody else. He's hungry on the scene. He's definitely hungry.
I told him before, I said, I hate saying it, but one of the best things that ever happened to me was fucking losing to somebody I shouldn't have lost to. It makes getting fights easier. If they go and look at all of your fights and go, well, he beat him and him and him. Oh, he lost to this fucking guy. Oh, let's take it. So I think that's going to be good for Stump in the long run. So we'll see what happens.
Freeman's the same way. He's been back at it hard as shit with us, when he's not working in there busting ass,
Yeah, my main issue. Hey, Bo, can you hear me? All right, Bo, if you can hear me now, tell your son to get the fuck off the internet, and he's slowing down your connection. Tell him to get off his goddamn Xbox. He should be in bed. It's fucking 10:30. He's got fucking school tomorrow. Anyway, we'll keep it going until Bo gets back. Okay, so that was the list we had. And we have talk of an interesting fight. We've got Weston and wait, am I on?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I'm still on right now. Cool. Jesus. All right. One person that really, a couple of people that really should have been on this list that have not properly gotten the credit that they deserve is actually our guest from next week, or who's going to be on next week, EJ Brooks. EJ had a setback in his last fight, hasn't been able to fight, but that's because Bellator is a bunch of fucking dickheads. I don't know how much he wants to fucking talk about that. I'll clear things with him first before we say anything. It's just one of many people that have told horror stories about what Bellator's about. The fact that they kept EJ out of the 155 tournament is fucking ridiculous. EJ could easily wrestle fuck anybody he could literally, if he wanted to, he could just take him down and score and walk through that fucking tournament. With the exception being, like Will Brooks, who he can outstrike. So I don't, EJ, had an unlucky turn, but the fact that he's not on this list is just solely because I guess he hasn't had a fight. in a year. But, neither is Matt Ricehouse, neither is a lot of these guys and stuff like that. Don't fucking sleep on EJ, man. EJ is a great fucking fighter, and he's going to be on here next week. We can talk about all the cool shit that's going on with him. He just signed with the RFA, fighting John Cass here pretty soon. So, EJ's a couple of wins away from him being, a household name, hopefully. So, but we'll talk about him later. The other one, obviously, is my BFF, my man crush, Andrew Sanchez. He totally would have the least amount of fights on here, but everybody on that list knows if they get paired up with Andrew Sanchez, they're getting an ass whooping, during training. And I don't care who the fuck's on that list. Andrew Sanchez has beaten the fuck out of every single person on that list at one point or another. True story. But that's a gym. That's a gym. Going from the gym to the cage in front of all the fans and all the people. That's a big difference. That's a big difference, too. And Andrew Sanchez, amazing guitar player.
That was a big show.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Lance Benoist is badass on the drums, and Zach Freeman is a fucking good guitar player, too, man. These fuckers are good at everything, man. It's bullshit. Good looking, in shape, professional fighters. We have a band, too. It's just kind of a casual thing. Fuck those guys, man. Fuck those guys. I tell you what, as soon as one of those fuckers said that they end up catching fucking HPV from some fucking, some fucking mat slut, I'm gonna fucking bust them out here in front of everybody, man. I'm a fucking hater, dude. I'm a hater on that shit. Fuck them and their fucking great lifestyles.
Get throat cancer from eating pussy.
That's right. So who else? Do we miss anybody in the area that really should have been on the list?
No, I think we hit them all.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alex White.
Oh, shit. Yeah, fuck.
Alex White just came off a huge win in.
Well, this list was done before that too, though. Alex should be on the list now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. We could go. That's great. That's great. Okay, Matt Frazier just said the reason Dan O'Connor wasn't on the list is because he's too fucking short.
I didn't even look at that list expecting to be on it. I mean, there's so many
the list
people than me.
And Dan were both too short. There's more than 10 fighters that deserve recognition. It's like what I always say about the.
Me and EJ are too fucking pretty to be on that goddamn list. Is what it is, and it's racial biased. I'm pissed.
It's racial biased.
No, I'm just too pretty. Is what the problem is. Same as EJ. EJ should have been the list. No. There's way better people than me in St. Louis, in my opinion, and I mean that's not me being humble at all. Zach, I've been friends with for years and years and years since we were in high school. I remember him being 14 fucking years old, and he was a bad son of a bitch then. So there's better people than that. So even though we're joking about me being tall, it has nothing to do with that. So
no, I think we were joking about you being short.
Fuck off.
Yeah, so there it's like the 170 division. It's like in the UFC, it's like I swear there's got to be 20 guys that deserve to be in the top 10 if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? It's like there's so much talent, there's so many quality fighters out there, and you'd like to just put them all up there. But that's a great thing about the sport, and it shows the development in St. Louis. It's a great thing that they're growing the way it is. I guess maybe we're. Yeah, St. Louis is awesome, but KC's kicking. KC has a machine working out there where they've got Titan, they're on TV. They have a well-oiled machine that works better. I've been out in the KC scene, and I will tell you, their fighters are not better than ours by any means. By any means. I would put any one of our, by any means. I guarantee you. Some of their best guys are guys that grew up in Colombia, came out of Kevin Kroom, man, fucking Zach Cummings. I'm sorry, I'm reading what Matt's writing. He mentioned Tim Elliott, Zach Cummings, James Krause, Jason High, and Elsie Davis. Okay, all great fighters. Okay, Tim Elliott loses to Josh Sampo. Sorry, Eric Irving, that's his boy. I'm sorry. Loses to Josh Sampo. Zach Cummings is a good guy, but guess where Zach Cummings is originally from? This fucking area. But, and he trained out of Springfield. Too, so. Yeah, he's down in Springfield. And so, I mean, he's, again, I'm trying to make excuses, but I don't feel like Zach Cummings was 100% developed out of that area. James Krause is an excellent fighter. He's a good guy. I don't have to say he is a really good fighter. Jason High is also a very good fighter too. But I feel like, if we're counting Luigi and Tyron, and I don't think Jason High stands a chance against either Luigi or Tyron. Or if we were counting Robbie Lawler, but now I'm starting to cheat with the St. Louis guys. LC Davis, he's good against mediocre competition. I mean, he's a good fighter. He's good. He is a good fighter. Who's 145? Oh, I'd love to see Rice House fight LC Davis. That'd be a good fight.
Or Alex White.
To be honest, no.
Really?
Yeah, because LC is smart enough to know that he could probably take Alex down and then just fucking lay and pray and not like he could not fight him and try to sneak a decision.
I don't know. Alex is a tough fucking guy on the ground. He's one of those guys, as I said before.
Wait, what rank are you? What rank are you in jiu-jitsu?
Fuck off.
That's why he fucking seems tough.
Fucking white belt. No.
That's why he fucking seems tough to you.
No.
Alex has a very good game and he's still developing.
He doesn't take baits. It drives me
nuts. That's because he has no idea what you're fucking doing. You're over here talking about how good his ground game is. Oh, the reason he didn't fall for the fucking trick you were trying to set him because he has no fucking clue what you're doing. Alex's submission defense is you fucking put him in a choke and he just doesn't quit. He fucking summons the forces of fucking hell to somehow scramble out of the submission.
Rank on me.
And oh, that fucking hurt him. I put that one out there for fucking for all the faggot pajama wearers like me. And actually, Bo Kunz is a fellow gi wearing soldier now, man. So bad news.
I have 9 gis in my closet somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure you look really cool in your fucking kung fu classes with all the other 12-year-olds.
I think Benton's drinking tonight. Is that what you're being mean to me? I'm gonna cry. This is fucking bully tactics, and I'm not happy with it.
No, yeah, it is. Bullying is never appropriate. just like it's never appropriate, apparently, to have sex with a girl after she's had any alcohol because her decision-making skills are not. I'm like, wait a minute, what? That doesn't make any sense. How many times has a woman gone out and had a couple of drinks and slept with her fiance or husband? Is that rape? At that point, apparently, idiots that watch Dr. Phil say so. So,
I love fucking my wife when she's drunk. She doesn't remember it.
Rapist. Rapist.
It's good times. You get to videotape it and watch it the next day. She's fucking plastered, eyes half open. It's good times.
Yeah, it's good times, man. It's good times. But back to Alex White. He fought Roy Babcock. I don't know if anybody got to see that fight on Access. But I know the announcers were kind of a little biased towards Roy, and they're like, oh, he's landing some good shots. And I'm like, Alex is completely backing him up and wearing him down and landing more strikes. I would love to see the CompuBox number on that. I thought Alex landed more punches that first round. I went back and watched it a second time because I'm usually really nervous because Alex is a good friend of mine.
Does Access have CompuBox?
No. But occasionally they'll fire up some the Vegas odds on this fight, some random Titan fight, and I'm like, fuck, who takes those odds? Let me, because they don't know how to handicap the fights if they don't know who they are. So they've only seen a couple of fights. They're kind of going strength of schedule, whatever. And I'm like, there's been a couple of times where I was like, oh my god, I could have made so much fucking money.
And how about Alex? The underground blew up. Everywhere blew up about his sportsmanship after knocking the guy out. Look at the ref like, dude, the guy is unconscious.
Well, Alex doesn't have. Yeah, Alex is not a mean person, man. He's like he gets if you see him before a fight, he's in this intense aggressive mode. But that's not who he is. And the second somebody's hurt, this is the second time it happened when he fought Sharon Spain. He was really hurt, laying on the ground screaming, and Alex just backed off. He's like, okay, fight's over. That's a verbal tap out, back out. And Alex doesn't wait for the referee to pull him off and try to get an extra shot in or anything like that. Alex immediately goes, he's done, I'm done. He's done. shuts it off. The
It was
problem
even
with that
more
is
than that with Sharon. Sharon put his hands up and goes, "Please quit hitting me." And Alex backed away.
he's like,
I was
okay,
like,
that's
"That's got to
broken
be that should have been done." And Alex, his coach Joe, is going nuts. I was at that fight, and I actually fought on that fight.
I was in the corner, bro.
Yeah, I mean that was nuts, wasn't it? I
Yeah,
mean, seriously,
I was like, I saw the knee that Sharon claimed was low. It wasn't. It was right in his fucking hip bone, or right above it. It wasn't even in line for the groin, and it was up and off on the Sharon's left side. So he just hit him in a little bit above the hip, really fucking hard with the knee when he drove him back, and yeah, that was and Alex had to refocus in and then go back out there and fight after he had shut it off. And so he turned it back on, got refocused, got back in there, and got in there and got the win. Alex is a really good kid. He has a great future in this sport. It's one of those things is he's got to continue growing as a wrestler. And I mean, I love that he's growing as a jiu-jitsu player. And this is coming from the BJJ Black Belt for a guy who coaches him on his jiu-jitsu. Used to coach him frequently. I haven't gotten to work out with him in a little while, but coach him frequently on his jiu-jitsu. All that stuff where he climbs high guard and stuff like that, and transfers to arm bars, omoplatas, and stuff like that. We work the piss out of that stuff. But ultimately, it's something that with his build, he's just so confident in what he does with his jiu-jitsu now that he's like, oh, okay, cool. They take me down, I can tap people out. But it's like you can't do that. You got to make that guy kill himself to get you down. And if he happens to get you down, then you put on the jiu-jitsu clinic. Okay, when he defends the jiu-jitsu, you fucking cross-check him with your arm and you explode up to your feet. You get the fuck back up on your feet and you knock motherfuckers out. Alex White, that's what we're paying you to do, to punch people in the face. Stop trying to be an artist. Stop trying to be a pretty jiu-jitsu player. Go out there and knock people out. And that's what he did. He went out there, he got on top side of the guard, and he unleashed some great ground and pound, picked his shots. Didn't go aggro out there and start wildly flailing punches. Picked real crisp shots and kept good posture because the guy, they knew he liked to play rubber guard, and postured up and just KO'd him from the guard, and with one real clean shot right to the chin, boom, put him out, and then didn't follow up. And the referee's kind of standing there going, his eyes are open. Is he awake? What's going on? And I will say I've had experience with the ref Rusty before. I've seen him do a great job, and I've also seen him screw up before. And he definitely screwed up in a bad position. And yeah. So what are you gonna do?
He fucked up bad. People lost their shit and were wanting him yanked, get his license yanked, and everything. I don't know if it was that bad.
That's a government job, man. You can't lose a government job.
But I don't think it was that bad. But he definitely he fucked up, and hopefully doesn't do it again. Learned his lesson.
Thank God, Alex not a dickhead.
That's true. But Bo, what's going on? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, let's get into some Bo talk right now. So we have bad news Bo Kunz on with us tonight. He's the statue sitting quietly in the corner, not saying a fucking thing. Thanks for all the give and take, man. But he is he's an amateur. You've had what, close to 30 fights as an amateur, and he's about 30.
Yeah, in 20, 25 or 6, something like that.
Yes, would have been enough right there. Yeah, but okay. So Bo's actually a tradesman. He's a bricklayer, and bricklaying is kind of one of those on the job learning things. You go there and you learn as you work, and that's kind of how you started your career. How soon was it that you came to the gym? What time frame? How long was it before you actually got in the ring to fight?
I'd say 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Yeah.
5 weeks. They got you in there. They got you your first fight, and it's one of those difficult things where you go out there. You're going to lose a lot of fights out there, but you're going to learn what it is to get in there and experience those fights as you're coming up. It's one of the mistakes that was made for a lot of jiu-jitsu fighters is that they wait until they're purple belts, brown belt. They're so fixated on their jiu-jitsu. They're so go-to, and that carries them really well through their amateur career. And then all of a sudden they go to the pros where everybody's got jiu-jitsu, but they've also got wrestling and boxing. And then all of a sudden, oh shit, takedowns getting stuffed, and now I'm getting lit up on the face. So Bo took the other route, the Travis Fulton version of that, which is like, hey, you're gonna lose some, but it's all gonna be development. It's all about being able to turn pro. So what made you decide at this time that you're like, hey, I'm ready to turn pro? What was the difference?
Just when I made the switch to the gyms and the work, the work ethic at the new gym, learning the technique, getting in there and just going with the, the top area pros, that's on the list and that are at St. Charles, and going and training other places and training with all the top guys. And just I've, developed a, very good game in the last year. And it's, I think it's ready. And Mike Rogers came to me and said, it's time to get paid for this year. You're ready to step on the scene. And he had my back 100%. It's like, let's get on there. Let's do this. So
awesome. Yeah, it's something that a lot of people would never expected. Bo Kunz in a gi, not only in a gi, but all the local grappling tournaments, Nagas, J-Dubs, all the different tournaments. Bo Kunz standing up in the first place spot in the gi division. Went ahead
put on
and
the fucking pajamas, Bo.
he put the pajamas on, man, and started.
Man,
you're better than that.
Dark side. I figured, you got to learn everything, and it can help.
You do.
Game aspect, so why turn it down? The Rogers,
I joke when I talk shit about the gi, and people need to understand that.
You probably have 3 or 4 of them in your closet.
I got more than that. I had I trained twice a day. When I did gi, I trained twice a day, 7 days a week. So I have a lot of fucking gis. I don't wear them anymore, but I have a lot of gis. I have gis from when I was 215 pounds. Finding a fucking gi for a guy that's 5'4", 215 pounds is really hard to pull off. So.
And he still loves all those gis. Some would say, Dan likes to spend a lot of time in his closet.
That's true.
Some would say that. The terrible joke. So you've had some pretty, crazy fights. What would you say was some of your more memorable amateur fights?
I'd say fighting the Brian Shell. We had a draw. He beat me the first time, which that's when the bad news broke out, because I just came out there and Shell was like a 6-1 guy, and they thought I was a fat country dumpling that was gonna just get his
Well, you
ass.
were.
Hey, that was gonna get his ass kicked, and I definitely was. And this guy was ranked 3rd in Naga and purple belt and all this shit, and I just brought it to him. And then after that, I think them are the best memorable fights, is because Brian's a good guy, and I'd love to fight his ass as a pro now.
Is he retired now?
I don't know. He better hope. I'm 185.
We have a surprise call from the chubby bunny, the stumpy one, the Thunder Bunny, Chris Heatherly, gonna drop some knowledge on us. What you got for us, brother?
Turn your fucking TV off. Jesus Christ.
Who's screening these fucking calls?
See, Bo, you grow up with these fucking douchebags, Chubby Bunny, you got fucking
there he is.
Danny Wright, and you got these fucksticks calling in on you.
Can you come around here?
Are you watching porn over there, Chubby Bunny?
I got a skin on or something.
You want to
What's up, buddy?
Get the fucking hat out of your face.
Suck on my balls.
Turn your TV off, douchebag.
I ain't got no TV.
What the fuck is that sound?
I don't know. Hold on.
This is not professional.
I gotta take a journey. Give me a second.
Okay, so while we're doing that, we'll keep talking about Bo and some of your more memorable fights. Is there any guy that you didn't get to fight as an amateur that you really wish you had?
I wish I could fight a few of them over, but no, nobody that I didn't get to fight. I fucking fought everybody, it seems like.
How's that?
Better, better, better. What's going on, Chris? What's up?
Not too much, man. Just getting ready for my upcoming fight. Been getting some good work in. Bad news. Bo Kunz been coming in and getting some real good work in with us over at Fitter Fight. So just ready to fight and get my W back.
So, who's the better wrestler, you or Weston?
I guess we'll find out. I feel like I mean, I don't know. I'm a good wrestler. I think my hands are better. I think my jiu-jitsu is better. I've heard a few people talking saying that he's going to win by ground and pound. So we'll see.
I don't think there's any way that he stops you. I think obviously it's going to be the wrestler. I mean, and again, I can't give a fair assessment because I have not seen Weston fight as a pro yet. But given like that, he didn't finish Bo Smith, who was was a 5-5 amateur that turned pro, and he unanimous decision to him. It's really if you can stuff his takedown. Matt Ricehouse laid the game plan on how to beat him. I know that he's developed a lot, and it's totally not fair to go on that. But Ricehouse showed exactly how to beat him.
Right.
So.
And I've worked with some really, really stud wrestlers from, Nick Zona, who's a very good wrestler, Tommy Stair, Jake Collier, who I know doesn't have a wrestling background, but who's a really, really good wrestler. And then, Coach Mark Botindri, who, basically coached Weston for a long time. And, he's coached me, and I feel like that I'm the better wrestler. And I think my hands are better. So obviously I'm going to be looking to stuff takedowns and put my hands on them.
So with this, I've heard lots of rumors that Weston does have excellent hands, but we just haven't really got to see it much in his fights. Are you really? And I guess we've seen your striking a lot more in your fights as especially including your amateur career. But have you had too many? Because I haven't seen all your amateur fights. Have you had many fights where guys have sat there and traded with you for several rounds, where you've had minutes standing instead of just one exchange? Boom, guys lock up each other. Because that's what happens a lot as amateurs. It's like 2 punches, then they're grabbing. Have you had a lot of fights that guys have just stood there and you traded with?
Not in MMA. The good thing is I had quite a few kickboxing or Muay Thai fights, I should say. So I got some good work in with being able to throw my hands and put together combinations. I've had people say that they were going to trade with me, and then you know how it is. Once they get hit, they're looking to clinch. And it just happens that a lot of times I'm a better wrestler than a lot of guys in the clinch. So, it usually plays in my favor. I think I have really good hands. I've sparred with some of the best guys in the area, including guys, like I said, Lance Benoist, Jake Heck. Now, don't get me wrong, when I sparred with those guys, I still got hit a lot. But, I landed a lot as well. But I feel like, this will be a great opportunity for showcase my skills on my feet and my wrestling defense. So I'm really, really happy to be able to get a fight with Weston. Who I'm sure on his end thinks he can roll over me, and I'm looking to prove that I'm well-rounded in every area of the MMA game.
Let's say this fight, everything goes exactly the way you want it, you get the win. Are you still going to continue to fight on the regional scene, or are you looking to maybe get another fight from somebody from Finney's or anything like that? Would you try to pursue the fight with Kevin? Who's a great guy, by the way. Kevin's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, after this, to be honest with you, I want to go back to Canada and get a W in Canada and basically, just show them that I'm not just some shit bum that they brought in for their guy to beat up. I'm prepared to deal with the nerves and stuff that I dealt with when I went there now. So I'd like to go to Canada. But in the meantime, on another note, me and Zach Freeman, we're going to do a friendly grappling match in the Burger versus St. Charles MMA shindig that they're putting together. So we're going to do a friendly grappling match, Santa versus the Grinch. We're both going to get at it.
Good times, good times. Is there as they said, a date? Oh, it's for December? Do you know what time?
I think it's either November or December. Obviously, hands down, I could not touch Zach Freeman in the gi at all. So we're gonna do a no gi grappling match, and I think we're both
Pajamas.
we're just gonna
Pajamas.
come in fat guy mode, whatever we weigh, and just have a good showing and put on a little show for everybody.
Right on. It's funny that they're doing a Burger versus St. Charles MMA, which is, obviously Steve and Mike grew up together, have been best friends, have lived together, trained together, fought together, all that good stuff. And they're fighters, train together, fight together. They're all good friends and things like that. So it's nice to see that gyms that can work together and still not be afraid to go ahead and match guys up from each other. Sometimes it's difficult when gyms start working together a lot, and then you don't want to necessarily have fighters fighting each other, or at least, okay, after the fight we can work together. But if you've been training with a guy for 6 months and then all of a sudden, somebody's trying to match you up and you're like, oh, okay, well, you run into that Roy McDonald GSP kind of thing. Got to keep both guys at the other end of the gym.
Right. Yeah, I think that's kind of gay, but it's like I said before, in St. Louis, it kind of sucks because there's so many regional promoters around here that they want you to fight your buddies left and right, but on the bigger picture, the pro guys, they're looking, like myself, we want to get the bigger shows. So to do that and make yourself a good fighter around here, you got to train with the best guys. And there's a shit ton of great guys at St. Charles MMA with probably some, the best in the area. You got guys out there at the pit that are really good, and then there's guys that are burgers. For us to exceed, everybody else, we got to get together and really, really work together to get better.
And I'm going to throw it out there, too. There's a lot of great guys over at Jesse Finney's that because of politics and things like that, we haven't been able to work together. And it's one of those things that, imagine how strong St. Louis could be if, Tyron and, all the guys at the Hit Squad, all the guys at Jesse's, hell, even guys I know, not naming names or anything like that, working, have talked and worked with Matt Hughes recently, and not to throw anybody out there or anything, but guys are working with Matt Hughes trying to develop. There's such good people in the area, and if we do, and it's something Tyron talked about, pooling resources to work together, but then at the same time, is guys can't be afraid to fight each other if you're gonna work together.
Camouflage.
At times.
Right.
Camouflage shorts, honey. Go.
Hey, Bo Kunz, what's up, buddy?
My other shorts.
Heatherly.
Heatherly, what do you think about your place on the list?
To be honest with you, man, I really don't see myself as being one of the top guys. I mean, at my weight class maybe, but there's way better guys than me right now in St. Louis, man.
I think there was a lot of buzz too, and who's fighting right now. It's not so much, because again, if we're going back far enough, we can find some amazing talent. If we're going back to the early 2000s of guys that have come out of the area for sure.
I chuckled to myself when I seen the list. You seen that, Alex White wasn't on the list. That dude, I'm telling you right now, that dude, if he's not in the top 10 in St. Louis, I don't deserve to be in the top 10 in St. Louis. That dude's a monster. And I mean, I've sparred with the guy. If I wasn't such a good wrestler and big, I wouldn't even be able to take him down probably. He's got great jiu-jitsu. His hands are nasty.
On my side of the bed.
The dude never gets tired. He eats punches like fucking cereal for breakfast. The guy, you punch the guy and he fucking smiles at you and keeps walking forward. Same thing with EJ Brooks. He's a top level guy, and regardless if he's not fighting around here now, everybody's goal is to not be fighting around here once you make it to that level. So for him not to be on the list, same thing. And to have Adam Sella ranked higher than some of the guys that were in the lower end, I disagree there. I think, should Sella be on the list? Absolutely. He's accomplished, stuff that some other guys haven't accomplished. But the position that he was in, I disagree. Eric Irvin, dude's a beast, man. He's had some tough run-ins with some really tough opponents like Charlie Brenneman, who was a monster in the UFC. When he fights around here, he dominates guys. He made Adam Ward, he dominated Adam Ward for 3 rounds, who was a very tough opponent. And I was looking forward to seeing what Irvin had at this fight. He's a big dude. And not having to cut no weight, he's going to be a monster at 70.
Who is he fighting?
What are you doing?
I think the guy's name was Zach Pierce, maybe. I'm not for 100%
I'm not
sure on
familiar with
that,
him.
but I'm not. That might be wrong. It might be Price, Zach Price, or something. I'm not for sure. Supposed to have been a tough wrestler.
At 70, that's a tough fight. I really think Eric should probably stay at 55 though. I know that he really got into CrossFit and he was putting on a lot of dense muscle and things like that. I just think that with his height, I think it allows him to land his overhand right a lot better, and it's a great punch for him. He likes to catch kicks and land overhands and does it really well. And I think that that's a better. I feel like if he gets some of the taller guys of the in the 70 division, he's that hand's going to land a little short, and it's gonna make some of his striking a little less effective. So I kind of hope that he stays down at 55, and I know that trying to get fights and things like that, but I really hope he stays at 55 and doesn't decide to go back up to 170.
And that dude's funky on the ground, man. He's got some funky stuff, funky movements on the ground. He's a tough dude, man. He's a great training partner for me,
Oh
and
yeah, he's always
I
going to bring a
think
fight.
I think we're quality guys for each other. We both work hard, and it's good to have him around. And I'm real disappointed that he's not going to be fighting on this show this weekend.
So you and Weston, are you guys main eventing?
I believe so. I think so. I was looking for, like I said, I was looking forward to fighting Engel just because he's a high level guy, got really good boxing. He's a big name in St. Louis, and I would just want to kind of prove to everybody that, even though I went to Canada and lost to a good guy, I'm not coming back looking for any easy fights. I was looking to jump right back in versus a tough opponent and keep rolling.
Well, Weston is obviously a real serious opponent. He's a good guy, good fighter. Are you possibly looking to, like, I know I asked earlier, but like if say Engel does become available in the future, would you be looking for that fight specifically, or possibly pursuing the Luigi fight again, or is it just like, hey, I'm trying to, or even trying to fight Adam Sella, or are you just looking to move on
I mean,
for whatever happens?
specifically, I'm not looking for anybody. Obviously, I want to fight the best in the area. If I got to fight on a regional promotion, I want it to be the top level guys. I don't want to fight any bums. I don't want to fight any scrubs or guys that bang each other in their basement or whatever they do. But I want to fight the top level guys. So if I'm going to fight on a regional promotion, I want it to be guys like Kevin Engel, Adam Sella, Luigi. No, just because they're out of Finney's or whatever, I just want to fight the top 170s in the area until my fat ass gets down to 155.
So you're still looking to eventually get down there?
Yeah, I'm starting to walk around now a lot lighter. This will be a really easy cut for me, so to make 70 this time. So I'm gonna start staying around, 75, and I'm gonna do a test cut to 55 here in the near future and see how it goes. And then, if I don't feel like I killed myself, we're gonna take a fight. Hopefully, maybe a catch weight 60, 65, something like that, and keep trying to get down. I know there's a lot of guys that are 55ers that wouldn't mind fighting at 60, making that catch weight. So, my goal is definitely to make 155. For me to do anything in this sport long term, it's going to need to be at 155.
Bo, what are you making your pro debut at?
85. 185.
You're gonna do 85?
Yeah.
Any no names yet?
I was supposed to fight Danny Andrews, but he got hurt. So his training partner, Anthony Livingston, stepped up out of Poplar Bluff. Danny Andrews fought Kevin Engel, got knocked out by him. He's 3-3. He was 3-3 as a pro, is 3-3 as a pro. That's a tough kid out of Poplar Bluff. That was my original opponent, but it got pulled last week. So,
What's his opponent's record? Oh, I'm sorry. What's his buddy's record? We lost Bo again.
Pro debut.
Oh, it's his pro debut.
10-6.
Yeah.
He was 10-6 as an amateur.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What have you seen about him? Has any of his fights online or anything?
Yeah, they just I don't know. It's a real wishy-washy kind of fighter. I mean, he's got some decent striking, but that's about. I'm not impressed with anything else. I mean, I'm ready for I'm well rounded, so I think that making the change, I'm well rounded. So the fight goes anywhere, I'm ready to go. I think he needs to keep it standing to beat me. So
Who said you were well rounded?
me.
You know I love you, buddy.
Hey, you know what? I do. I want to, just give Bo a shout out too, and the guys over there at St. Charles MMA, Mike Rogers, and whoever's running the programs over there. Because when I first met Bo, he was a straight brawler. He was, he was one of those guys that if you ran into in the bar, you were gonna probably either wake up 5, 10 minutes later going, "What happened?" or he was still gonna be beating you up when you woke up. And now, I got some work in with him here over the past week, and his wrestling has really improved. We didn't get in much of the jiu-jitsu game, but his wrestling takedown defense and his takedowns, they look better than I've ever seen them. And guys that are looking to fight him should definitely not look at the old Bo Kunz and be ready for a new bad news Bo Kunz.
You're not supposed to tell him that, Chris.
Don't let him fool you. Now my striking has come a long way. It's yeah. Let's we ain't gonna stand and bang no more. I'll knock you out with the jab.
Yeah. That's another thing. He's not a brawler anymore. He's become more of a little more of a technician with his hands, which is also good. But like I said, me being a wrestler, I was definitely impressed with how much he's improved on his grappling for sure.
Yeah. So his name's Anthony Livingston.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has a KO win over Aaron Heifel from was it July 2012 with Shamrock. That's a huge win. It's a fucking fluke though. I know. Aaron Heifel's a good friend of mine, so I'm probably not. I'm kind of really biased about that. But
Oh, dude.
that's a fucking.
You're right,
It
bro.
happens.
He's a tough son of a bitch, man. He comes up to Burgers to spar. Dude's got mad boxing, and his ground is not far behind, man. He's a tough dude.
Yeah,
That's
Heifel's
Aaron's
legit.
only loss as an Emmy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it has to be. I mean, not to talk shit on Bo's opponent, but that has to be a fluke. I watched Aaron grapple, box. I mean, the kid's a fucking freak. I had a nice conversation with him. And he's very respectable. I had a good conversation with him the other day, and I was like, I think you're doing the right thing about taking more amateur fights. Said don't get too overboard and take 20 or 30 because you only have so many fights that your chin can handle getting punched too. So, but he wants to just get more experience, and I watched him spar Chris. I watched him grapple with everybody. The kid is a fucking freak. So I would say it was a fluke as well. And I also think Bo's gonna beat Anthony pretty easily.
Yeah, Anthony, he just had a knockout over one of Pedigo's guys. So I mean, he's got definitely some hands. So I mean, they're at the last Rumble Time show. So it's definitely showing that he's got some hands. But we'll see. I got a chin too.
Well, that kind of gives us a good segue. Talking about a lot of these amateurs leaving the amateur scene for the world of the pro, and I know a lot of guys were stressed out about, okay, who's going to fill these spots, especially, now Bo's going, Tony Sauter's technically left, but not quite. So I think he filled out his pro card, but he didn't get to actually fight. But so he's already left too. As far as heavyweights are concerned, and middleweights and light heavies, who's left in the amateur ranks to take over the reins of the division?
Is Cronin still around, right?
If anybody,
no, Cronin moved to San Diego. He can buy and sell all of our asses now with his high-speed job.
But
he works for Qualcomm.
He'll be a top dog because he's a monster, man.
If somebody would fight Carlitos Jones, and
Yeah, Jesse Farmer calling out Carlitos Jones. Anybody got anything to say about that?
They said Carlitos won't fight him. That's a fucking joke.
Farmer was supposed to fight.
Futrell.
Yeah. And Futrell got sick. My boss right now is Farmer's brother. So my boss at Club Fitness.
I'm letting you know right now, Scott Futrell will fight anybody. So for him
anybody.
For Farmer to say and whoever, like I said, I like Jesse Farmer, I like Eric Clarkson a lot. But for them to say that Futrell was faking or milking an injury or milking a sickness, they're way off with that because that dude will fight anybody.
Are they fighting at 85 or 70?
85, I believe.
85, and Fertrell should be easily fighting at 70. Easy fighting at 70.
Yeah, he can make 170. I mean, he's a big, tall kid though, man. He's 6'4". That's why I wasn't including him in that 185 because I thought he was actually going down and doing most. I think when he turns pro, he's going to stay at 70. But yeah, he's definitely one of the kids to watch at 85 and 70. Futrell is fucking good, man, and he's already had 30 fights in just 2 years in the sport. I mean, that guy will fight anybody. He doesn't give a shit. So
no, he's not ducking nobody.
No, he's I guess they've talked about rescheduling it for on Fight Hard, so hopefully we'll get to see that match between Jesse Farmer and Scott Futrell. So, but going back to Carlitos Jones, he's a very, very talented, strong, tough, athletic guy. He's legit. He's definitely one of those guys. He's fighting at 85, and I know he's going to stay at 85. So he obviously is he considered the kingpin of the division now, or because I know he doesn't have a whole lot of fights, but
nobody will fight him. Nobody will fight him. He's willing to fight. Nobody will fight him. They used to beg to fight. They would beg me because they knew I'd fight anybody, and I never hooked up with them. But and good thing. I mean, now I mean we train together, and he's really good. I mean,
have any of you guys been able to see Dustin Fisher fight at 85?
Tough dude.
Tough dude, pretty good.
Yeah, he's a decent dude. I think that he's, it's same. Even myself, I think that I still have a lot of work to do to be a good professional fighter. And like you said, I think that some of these guys that talk about going pro, they should definitely, brush up every tool that they have in their toolbox before they make the jump. And I think he still has a few things to work on, but I think he's definitely a tough dude.
Now, that brings up a good question. How many fights you guys think you need to have, or how many wins you think you need to have versus losses at amateur to go pro? I didn't have a whole lot of amateur fights. I know Chris and Bo had a lot more than I did. So what would you guys think would be a good number?
I mean, I wouldn't even base it on fights, because you can fight 120 bums and still not be ready to move to the professional level. I think when you're well-rounded and confident, for one, you got to be confident in your stand-up and putting combinations together. You got to be able to wrestle. You got to be able to do jiu-jitsu, because everybody in this game is so advanced at everything. Even like in UFC, if you're a good striker, you probably have pretty decent ground as well, unless, you're a real shit bum. I like Pat Barry a lot, but he definitely would need to work on his ground game before he ever became any kind of, contender for a world title. It's just, you have to be decent everywhere. And I think that's one thing is when you're thinking about leaving the amateur career, if you get taken down, can you get up? If you get taken down, is there a possibility that you can sub somebody off your back? If those answers are no, you should probably think about fighting amateur a little while longer.
Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways though too. You look at a guy like Josh Neer, who he was doing those Wednesday night fights at a bar for like a year straight. He's got like 100 amateur fights. He was so freaking tough and so game and so willing to just let his hands go. Obviously, he's a very skilled fighter. At this point, he's very completed his game. He's a very good fighter. But he was the guy who came out of just fight, and learned how to fight while doing it, on the job training, so to speak. But then we have, there's been criticisms of Buddy McGinnis, who's currently at the top of 145 right now, and he's really high up or at the top at 55. He's got a great record, but his strength of schedule has been questioned at times. I don't think it's always fair. I mean, he's had some good fights, but still, he's had a lot of fights of like, okay, who's he fighting? And then on the other hand, we've got a guy like Christian Camp, who has continually taken the tough fights with whoever he can get his hands on. And I mean, at one point, Christian Camp was fighting like Jeff Escobar at 170, and then he would fight whoever at 55, and whoever at 45. And it looks like the two of them are going to go ahead and throw down for the Cage Championships Cage Championships for the Spire State title on September 21st. So that's a good one to look forward to. We finally get kind of some definitive who's the top of the 145 division, and then they will quickly turn pro, and now we'll have to redecide the whole thing all over again.
The fuck, somebody say something.
Somebody say something. Yeah, it's worth noting that Christian Camp is 3-0 against St. Charles MMA. With that being said, 2 of the fights were against Jason Powell, and in both of those fights, Jason Powell was tearing through him, for the entire first round, and then boom, gets caught in some ridiculous shit, and that's more on Powell than although Christian Camp is very good, but he was getting dominated by Powell, and then boom, he came back and got the submission in one, and then got the TKO in the next. So I mean, those things happen, and but it's definitely worth mentioning that he's beaten Jason Powell twice, and Travis Draper, who is 2 guys that are pushing forward to the top of both those divisions, the 155 and 145 divisions. Let's go back. Is there anybody at 205? Anybody at 205 left?
Shit.
Tom Baker? Tom Baker seems to be the only guy left at quality fighters at a 205, and of course everybody knows Tom should be fighting 85 or 70, but he's a big boy. But he's a good dude. He's a good wrestler, good fighter too. 85, we've got guys like Futrell still around, Dustin Fisher, and obviously the most duck man in the 185 division. We've got Carlitos Jones, and then Jesse Farmer's trying to get up there and get them fights in too. But I think most people would probably assume that he's the underdog against Carlitos and against Scott, and so. I would like to mention in some of our lower weight classes, I had the pleasure of getting to watch a young kid from CMMA, Arian Zekathi. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly. He actually fought one of my students, Court Wall. Court is still a young kid. He's 18 years old. He turned 18 in January, so he's still very much a kid, and I think the crowd got a great fight. Arian is a very complete fighter. He jumped up a weight class to fight this at 45. He normally fights at 35. I really think that kid has what it takes to be the future of the amateur division in at the 35 around here. I really, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody who's still an amateur for this guy to fight. He's 5-0 now. But I don't know possibly who he's going to be able to fight. He's
what weight is that?
135.
What weight is Adam Osmo?
He's fighting 55.
That's a
yeah. Osmo's got. If Osmo keeps fighting and he gets more fights, we're just not seeing a lot of him. He's definitely.
Is he coming off a hip surgery or something crazy?
That makes sense. That's probably why we haven't heard of him for a little while. He definitely seems to be the future of that 55 bracket too. That's a good call on that one.
That dude's knocking cats out. He's got great wrestling. Yeah, he's gonna be dangerous, man.
Yeah, he's gonna be good. So I've heard our Matt's telling me that there was rumors of trying to get Damian Newman and Arian to a possible fight. I mean, that's a pretty crazy jump up in level. You got a guy who's got 5 fights versus a guy who's fought everybody. And sometimes several times he's fought everybody and had amazing fights. He's been the distance. He's got submissions. He's got the knockouts. That is a huge fight. That's really ambitious. But I don't see any other choice for Arian right now. I watched him go, and he's very complete. He's very, very good. I think he and Damian would be a great fight. I think that would be a fans fight. I think we'd get a great fight out of that. I'd love to see it.
Yeah,
agree. I think that would be a good. That would be a great fucking fight for like a fight hard title or something where Arian could get on a big stage. I love Arian. He's a good kid. Obviously, Damian is my guy, dude. He's trains out of our gym, but that would be a phenomenal fight to see. I mean,
How close
I always
is
love
Damian to going pro?
Man, I love to see go pro. Man. Yeah, he's real freaking.
got-
One or two more.
He
One or
wants
two
some
more?
he wants some K1 fights and maybe one or two MMA fights, and then go from there. He if we can keep him focused and training hard, I think he is one fight MMA, maybe 3 fights K1 away, so we can just get the little bugs and kinks worked out of his game fixed. And he's tough as shit. Anybody that's ever watched Damian fight, I've hit him with shots that I've put down a lot bigger guys with, and he is tough as fuck. So anybody that's ever sparred Damian, you hit him and you hit him and you hit him, and he keeps coming, and it's like, Jesus shit, what do I gotta do to him? Then you take him down and you just have to choke him. So,
That's what he's working on, man. He's working on getting hit a little less and hitting people a little more, you know. So he lets guys beat on him, man. He just keeps walking. You know, he pretty much breaks guys' will. Like he broke Ira. You know, Ira hit him with everything he had. Damian kept walking forward, and Ira gave up in the 3rd round when he got caught in that triangle. And you know, that's what Damian does to guys. He'll take you into deep waters and drown you. If you're not ready for a tough war, don't fight Damian Newman.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, so with Fierce going pro, is Damian kind of? He's probably top of the heap right now. I know that you know, I wouldn't even throw Charles Johnson up there just because a lot of people say that he should be fighting 25, and that he doesn't have the strength schedule that Damian does.
Plus, you guys got to remember one thing about Charles Johnson too, man. That kid's a college athlete. You know, he runs track in college, so you
he
know
doesn't always have time for this stuff. Yeah,
man. You know, you got schoolwork, and I believe me, athletics in college, they take up all your time. So
I'm sure.
I'm sure, you know, if he actually you know, had a chance to train like some of these guys are doing, he'd be a threat at that weight class. But until he can dedicate that kind of time to training, you know, like you said, he can't be the top dog in that weight class.
Yeah, we gotta put Damian at the top. But he's did any of us go to college? Motherfucker, I got my degree in applied math theory.
Hey, if
Dan just texted me. Did any of us go to college? I got a degree in mathematics so I could fucking teach jujitsu for a living and cut trees down. Tony Biondo, Tree Monkey Tree Service, come check us out. Monkey business is good business.
I guess that should be the time where I don't say, hey, Minky, can you cut some trees down for me? Can you climb?
Yeah. Oh, I'm capable of it, but not very well, and I'm kind of scared of heights. So
shut up.
It gets pretty. Hey, all right, man. I won't say nothing. God.
Shit. All right, let Dan talk. He's getting pissed off.
Dan's getting pissed, man. No, yeah, we end up yeah. So
Did you hear that? I put the mic on mute. You heard that?
You're fucking right. We've been hearing you yell at your daughter for like the past 20 minutes. Why don't you get off?
All right, hold on. Let me recap on a little bit. My daughter sleepwalks and sleep talks, and last time we were on the show, she went and took a piss in my dog's cage, and like she doesn't know where the fuck she is, and she dropped trowel and was pissed on the cage. So if you ever see me look over the balcony and like give you weird looks, it's my daughter that sleepwalks. She got up a minute ago and took off running outside for no fucking reason and didn't know where she was. So I have to watch her. I don't know what the deal is, but she like disappears, and I have to kind of watch her. She the pissing last time was pretty epic. I never seen her do that before, and she just started sleepwalking like a month ago. So
are you sure she's not fucking with you? Maybe this is a big elaborate joke. Your wife and her collaborated together to come up with the most ridiculous joke they could.
She's downstairs screaming about something on TV, and I can't understand exactly what she's saying, but it's something about One Direction, and I know that's not on TV right now. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. So yelling at her to be quiet, and I had to run outside and chase her down. So, but yeah, she sleepwalks, and it's pretty funny, but it's bad fucking it's bad pod for me to get up and throw my headphones down because my daughter ripped the door open and took off running. So it doesn't know where the hell she is, and I wake her up like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm sleeping." You're standing in grass. Fucking knock it off. So Wait for
Back
that,
to-
Chris. When you get your daughter old enough, hopefully she starts sleepwalking. You get to see all the fun shit that happens with that.
Yo, bro, no, you need to get that checked out, bro.
I'm gonna have to.
Normal.
It's only gotten bad like
It's
this
just-
past. It's only gotten bad for like a week now, like a couple weeks now. So the piston in the dog's cage was pretty interesting. If you watched the last podcast, I looked down and she walked in the dog's cage and pop squatted over her piss bowl, her food bowl, and pissed in it. So I don't know what to do with this kid. It's my karma coming back to me from all the shit I did when I was younger.
So back to 45. You guys got a pretty good 45er over at your place, though. Justin Langford. How do you feel about his chances about being able to climb the division after guys like McGinnis and Camp or eventually turn pro? I don't know what McGinnis is doing. I know Camp is looking to turn pro here pretty soon.
Well, I think Justin's a fag, so I'm just gonna put that out there right now. No, he's my cousin. I honestly think he's gonna do real good. Obviously, Benton doesn't love his takedown and beat him up on the ground style, but
Wait, hold on. I'll tell you what his nickname is. It's just enough to win Langford.
you
Just
gotta
enough
make
to win
shit up
Langford.
for everybody.
I know, man. Justin lay and pray Langford. I know. Take you down. Beat people up. Beat people up. Jesus Christ, man. I've seen like all he does is fucking massage dudes' ribs. The second they go after him, he's oh shit. I better not do anything.
I choke him out. Heatherly chokes him out. We beat him
Hey,
up.
I'm glad pro fighters can choke him out. And B,
he fights 45 on a 115 pounder coming couple weeks. So.
and have you ever fought 115 pounds?
Yes. I've done boxing and I've done MMA at 115 pounds.
You've already fought? You've done 115 already? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
One time MMA and one time boxing. I made 115 twice for boxing and didn't have anybody in my division for the Golden Gloves, and one time for when I did Gallo weight for the Worlds. The one time I did Gallo weight, which is rooster weight, which is one.
So what you're saying is that you consider BJJ grappling matches fights?
It was in the gi one fucking time. No, it's I made
you're counting not having an opponent. I'm not saying that you can't make 115.
No,
Clearly you can. I'm saying have you ever fought MMA 115? You have fought MMA 115.
Minky, if I could.
Have you fought MMA 115?
Yes.
What was the girl's name?
Fuck you. It was the guy out of the war room. I can't remember his fucking name now. It was Schneider or some shit. Brandon Schneider. And he was it was something that they said I had to make 115, and I tried to do 25, and he wanted to do 15. I made 15. Boxing did it once for Golden Gloves. I did it once and actually fought on Golden Gloves. Twice made it for Golden Gloves and did it for Gallo weight the Worlds one time. If you want to count me making 115. Other than when I used to do all sorts of meth and crack and cut weight like we spoke on before. So. But yes, I made.
And what rank did you compete at in Worlds?
Fuck you. You know goddamn well. Fuck you.
What was it again?
White belt 2 stripes.
That's why Alex White's hard to tap for you. That's why Alex White's hard to tap. That's why Alex White's hard to tap.
We haven't all been doing this since we were 17 and had our dads into this shit, you asshole.
Look, man, I've been begging for my white belt for like 6 months now from Berger. He just ain't gonna give it to me. So
you get like no belt from Berger, then your first promotion actually is your white belt. You don't get shit at first. Nothing to hold your pants up.
Bullshit, man. I can't even. My gi won't even stay up because I can't even get a fucking white belt.
He won't give you a white belt. No. Yeah. So derail. Okay. Where the fuck were we at? Oh yeah, that's right. Lay and pray.
Fuck you.
So, like, if you don't actually throw any punches before you take the guy down and lay on him for 3 rounds, does that count as being a fighter?
He throws punches.
Or are you like a really good? Are you just like? I mean, was he aware that striking was legal?
You know, coming from O'Connor's side of the family, I don't know. We should probably let him in on that.
Oh, you went up a high pitch. I'm gonna kick you in your head next time again.
now I know that side of the family's jacked.
Justin Langford, another guy with a ridiculously hot girlfriend in the scene, right? Or is he still dating that girl?
Yeah, she's actually pregnant. They just found out they're having a boy.
Oh.
So me and Justin are having boys within 2 weeks of each other.
Oh,
so,
congratulations to both of you.
That seems facetious, but fuck off. No, he is
No,
still dating.
I can't congratulate you. I can't congratulate you on having a male child.
No, he's still dating her. Justin's always dated hot chicks. I was always jealous of him when we were younger. He's always fucked the hotter chicks until now. But she's hot, and
his wife's standing in the room.
Yeah, no. Mrs. Irish is clearly in the room.
Hey man, my wife's fucking hot. Fuck off. I definitely upgraded when I got married. So he's gonna do good. When again, I'm biased, but Justin, he started out, he wrestled at SIUE. He trained with a lot of high level MMA fighters before he met me. I mean, he was training with Pat Healy. He was roommates with Pat Healy, and he trained with AC Alex Carter. Couldn't think of his name for a second. AC isn't the greatest MMA fighter, but he's fought the who's who of MMA. I mean, he's like 3-25. But those were the guys Justin used to hang out with. He was a wrestler and had no striking, and I drug him into MMA because I knew it would kind of get him out of the stupid shit he was doing, drinking and partying too much, and it did. So I love Justin, and I was like, are you answering a phone call, douchebag?
Yeah. It's Justin. He said, can you give him his balls back?
Oh.
That was cute. But anyway, he was real seriously injured in a car accident, and I drug him into MMA to kind of switch him up from all the dumb shit he was doing and get him training hard. So
he was out there abusing drugs and.
I didn't say that.
Is it? I mean, that's what you were insinuating.
So
now instead of abusing himself, now he's abusing the audience by his ambient style of fucking fighting.
Hey, he's working on his hands, though, man. He's working on his hands.
He's training hard. I know you're being an asshole. He's training hard. He works on his hands. And to tell you the truth, last few fights, he wanted me to talk to Berger about him striking more. Berger knows he can take people down and beat them up on the ground. He wants to strike more, and he's gonna strike more. His hands aren't bad. His hands are good. He hits hard. He has great body shots. And if he goes to take you down, he's taking you down. So unless you can stop all those things, I mean, his last fight, granted, wasn't any highlight reel fight, but he landed great body shots. He landed good strikes. And they took the guy down, and he didn't get submitted against Pedigo. Pedigo's guys are great jiu-jitsu guys. So obviously we worked counter jiu-jitsu, and he was going for submissions. It wasn't like he wasn't. I mean, when he went against the SMMA guy, we didn't expect him to land a submission. He jumped on an arm and guillotine. So you can't really talk too much shit on his trying to finish skills. He just could not finish a couple of his opponents. He's finished people in the past. He doesn't stand up and strike as much as I'd like him to, but he's going to start doing that. So
I change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't want to jack off my cousin on fucking internet because I like to make fun of him when I'm in the gym. So
okay. Do you like GSP as a fighter?
Yes. I like. Now hold on. I like a lot about GSP, and I like his when GSP strikes. GSP is a phenomenal striker.
What's your major criticism of GSP?
He doesn't try and finish.
I think this conversation's over now.
No, Justin tries to finish.
You're a hypocrite.
Hey, for a math guy, you're pretty fucking sly, buddy. Pretty fucking sly.
Pretty sly for a math guy.
Yeah, no shit. Hey, but now you see why, Justin knows that it's not his time to try to advance to the pro level yet, because he's still working on several aspects of the game.
Oh,
you know,
just to let
before he makes that jump.
Justin know if he's listening, this is totally about me bothering Dan,
Yeah.
and I'm just
I
using
don't know.
him.
And he
I'm
jerked
just
off
using him as
Tyron
my
earlier,
tool
and
of
Tyron is laid down for a lot of his fights. Did lay and pray. So, fuck off.
who's
No,
that?
Tyron. Tyron did a lot of lay and pray.
Tyron?
You mean Tyron? You mean Tyron?
Whatever. I'm from North County. We call him Tyrone, Tyron, whatever the fuck ever his name
Oh,
is.
wait a
He's
minute.
a great dude, and he's
That
been
was
finishing fights.
Wait, you use your street cred to justify not saying his name correct.
Correct.
That wasn't the most racist thing I've heard all night. That's what
You weren't
called
on
me.
here earlier. We were talking
Yeah.
way worse shit than this.
Hey, but
Yeah,
you
you
know,
should have been on here a couple of weeks ago when Dan was talking about how he teaches his daughter to punch black people.
yeah, I heard that. I know
In the
about that.
dick. It does.
Hey, now, but you're saying Tyron lays and prays, but his fucking first, was that
He was
first fight
criticized for a long time for that.
knocked the guy out in fucking 30 seconds.
True.
You
True.
know, the
He
guy's
worked on his
that guy's
hands and started doing it.
He's
Well,
dangerous
Tyron's
everywhere.
the only boring fights that he's had was the Tarek Safardine fight and the Jordan Mean fight. Other than that, he's been pretty entertaining. You know.
Yeah.
But he was criticized for a long time about lay and pray. I always liked watching Tyron. Gotcha. I always liked watching him fight, and I love that he was from St. Louis and did what he did. And he's a nice, really nice guy, but he was criticized for that in the past. Now his hands have gotten to the point that they're at now, and same as Justin, coming up from the amateur ranks, he's going to do better. So
Yeah, that was just confidence. Tyron's always had solid striking and just getting his confidence in there and letting his stuff go. But we even saw in the fight with Marquardt, he let it go a couple of times and did well with it.
When he threw his hands in that Marquardt fight, man, he was hurting Marquardt and landing, and then he just kept getting.
And then he'd back up. He'd back up. He just that kind of like, oh wow, holy shit, it's working. Like, oh, everything that I'm good at in the gym is now starting to happen, and then you start thinking about it too much and then backing away. Andrew Sanchez, unfortunately, did the same thing with Jacoby. When he would start landing combinations, then he'd put his hands up and back away and let Jacoby jab at him. And that cost him a real close round in that second round because Jacoby won the third, Andrew won the first, and that
was my number one. Back to just touching base back to what you talked about that list. That was like my number one guy that wasn't on the list was Sanchez. And
yeah, Sanchez is a beast, man.
Like if you don't have that cat on the list doesn't make sense.
I think they were going by just number of fights and some hype behind him and just seen on the national level and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know who Andrew is yet, but they're gonna.
How much
and jealousy of all the skill that Sanchez has.
How much hype did that Darryl Cobb fight bring? And that, I thought, like I said, if I would make the list, he's on it. Regardless of, when you say top 85ers in the area, two names come to mind.
Jay Collier, Anderson Sanchez. Yeah, we're boom right there. For sure.
And that's you're not gonna. Collier is a redneck from Cuba, Missouri. He's my dog. I don't even know if he can be my dog since he's from Cuba, but he's my boy, and he's not gonna ever have a shitload of hype because he's a quiet dude. He stays to himself. He goes out and he beats the shit out of people, and then he goes back about his business. Welding out in Cuba. The guy's not gonna. He's not on Facebook talking shit. He's not, carrying 3 million fans to the arena. But he's one of the baddest dudes in the area. So for him having a bunch of hype behind him and bringing and talking shit, it's not going to happen. Same with Sanchez. You don't see Sanchez online talking shit about his opponent. He goes out, he does what he's supposed to do. He's really good at what he does. And he finishes guys, and his wrestling is probably the best in the area. And, I believe him and Collier should have been on that list.
Oh yeah, for sure. Andrew's too busy fucking shredding and being awesome on his fucking guitar, man.
God, like we talked about last time. God damn it, Sanchez, just give me a little extra talent or something. You ain't got to be.
Oh yeah, no. Like that's the general consensus is that Sanchez has been given too much talent.
Yeah, bastard's good at everything.
Everything.
Does he just get laid left and right too? Is that?
Oh, he's in a pretty serious committed relationships though, so he's all domesticated. No, it's actually made him a better fighter. He's got to have somebody pulling in the strings and kind of reeling him in, keeping him focused, doing the right stuff, and it's been great for him.
Bad dude, man, bad dude. It's nuts.
According to Quentin O'Brien, Muay Thai coach for St. Charles MMA and Team Vaghi. Sanchez was also first chair in his 8th grade chess team. So something
See,
to
see what I'm
ponder.
saying? This is bullshit. He probably could play basketball too. I bet you. You know, it's just bullshit. I love that guy though.
Yeah.
I had the you know the what, I don't even know what to say. I had a chance to roll with him, and it's crazy. I've been wrestling for 20 years, and I learned something new in the one day at practice that I got to go with him. You know, I learned several new things and several different setups. The guy's a phenomenal wrestler and a phenomenal teacher as well. So yeah, I like the guy a lot, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, what else do we got? We covered just about everything. We talked about all the recent stuff. We got to talk about Alex White's fight a little bit. He did great, knocked this guy out, and was very polite and gentlemanly about it too. We got to talk about the ranking that KJ did, and obviously that it's not all that controversial or anything like that. It's just like one of those things where we would like to see everybody on this because there's so much talent. If anything, it just shows how much talent St. Louis actually has. We've got talked about some of the local kids and who's going to be some of the future of each division.
What about did you say I didn't know it at 45 now too? Montoya Prater, who's going to be
is he fighting 45 or 55?
He's done with 50. He will not fight 55 again. He's a 45er. So
Good.
I think he'll be dangerous at 45 as well.
Well, he's really turned it around. He's 6-0 so far this year, and he's really just done a great job and starting to become quite a complete fighter. And yeah, he's one to look for too. Yeah, Montoya Prater. Yeah.
He's got. It's crazy with it. You know, you don't see from a lot of amateurs. And I know the kid. I've trained with him several times. I actually worked with him on his wrestling and stuff. He puts combinations together like he's a pro fighter. You know, he has really, really good hands, and you know, Rios Thai Boxing did some good work with his hands, and now you see his everything. You know, like you say, he's becoming a complete fighter. Still needs to work on a few things before he makes that pro jump, but I see that coming real soon as well for him.
So we'll be back talking about who's best at 45. Hopefully Buddy McGinnis will have turned pro by then.
Buddy McGinnis said that he's not going to fight Jason Powell because Jason Powell wears a kilt. That's what he told me when I talked to him.
Wow.
That's just what he told me.
I remember Jason Powell's old T-shirt that he had made up, and I mean it was pretty awesome. What was it? Buddy McGinnis won't fight me, and he wore it around all the Cage Champs fights for a long time.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
That was great. You know, I don't care if I think you could whoop my ass every day of the week. If you come out with a shirt that says I won't fight you, I'm gonna fight you. That
I actually
not a fighter, man.
I actually started that. Dustin Severs was getting on my nerves back like 10 years ago or whatever, maybe 8 years ago, 6 years, something like that. I don't remember. And I wrote, I took a Sharpie and I wrote on one of my grappling shirts, Dustin Severs is my bitch, and then wore it to class for quite a while. But
that's pretty funny.
We also got to mention Tyron Woodley is Tyron Woodley is going to be fighting Koscheck. Yeah, Tyron. Yeah, that's his name. I said it correctly the first time. I reiterated it. He's fighting Josh Koscheck. That is a huge step up. It seems like they're not holding the Shields loss against him, and they're giving him a very good top 10 fighter. He gets this. He's definitely he wins this fight, and then his next one, then we're talking about a top 3 contender.
Hey, can anybody see this? I don't know. I just checked out Facebook, and my head posting is from Anthony Livingston. Be on the lookout for another fluke Saturday night. So Anthony's listening. Hey, what up, dog?
Anthony, that well played, sir. Well played, sir. That you get kudos for that one. You get kudos for that one. That's good.
He's one of the tens and tens of people that listen to this podcast.
I know, the tens and tens of people. Good on you, brother. Good on you. That's cool. That's cool,
tough guy, man. I can't wait to watch Bo Kunz, the developed Bo Kunz fight.
Yeah. It's looking forward to seeing it, man. That's a good one. That's awesome, dude. Way to go, man.
It'll be a good fight regardless. Obviously, Bo was at our fucking gym today. He trained with them on Friday, so I'm biased also. But I'd like to see him fight Highfill again too. So to see 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Anyway, who you got in the Tyron? Who got in the Tyron fight?
Boring.
I don't know, man. I think Koscheck likes to be a speedy fighter, and Woodley's faster. If Woodley goes out there and unleashes the skills, it could be a very very good fight for him. If he hurts Koscheck, Koscheck likes to shoot, and he likes to turn it into a wrestling match if he gets hurt at all. And I think Tyron can combat and counter a lot of the wrestling, but Tyron's got to get it done on the feet. That's for sure. Because Koscheck is a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler. And so is Tyron. So this is a very interesting fight. I really think you got a fighter who's on really the downside right now. He's having some problems. He's lost his last 3 in Josh Koscheck. So this is a must win for him. That's a lot of pressure. And Tyron has a lot of respect, a lot of hype, and a lot of drive. I mean, he had the Jake Shields fight, but I think a lot of people felt that he won that. And
good catch wrestling from Tyron too, man. He has some really good catch wrestling.
Well, guys, it did.
I'm not even talking about his catch wrestling. Shut the fuck up.
Well, I don't know how to call it catch wrestling, just because
it's wrestling with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, training at ATT and St. Charles and stuff like that. It's like it's it's what okay. So if a good wrestler is exposed to jiu-jitsu and allowed to kind of craft his own version of what jiu-jitsu would be, it looks a lot like catch wrestling. The same, where jiu-jitsu stems are Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I should say, doesn't stem from Japanese jiu-jitsu. It stems more directly from judo. And although obviously judo stems from jiu-jitsu, but that has to do with the whole concept of changing guard with the samurai warrior class going out, and the difference between fighting arts for war versus or for battle versus something that, oh hey, we're going to train martial arts to stay in shape and to make us more well-rounded person. So that so jiu-jitsu comes, or Brazilian jiu-jitsu comes more from judo in that sense, with the similar techniques. Well, if you look at what submission wrestling would look like if it came from carnival challenge matches and wrestling, in a amateur wrestling and closely tied to pro wrestling and things like that, what would it look like? What would submissions look like there? And they end up looking pretty similar in a lot of ways, but with a lot of different emphasis. And the concept of the guard is like, the guard is what you do if you get forced to your back, but you should try 110% to not go to your back, which obviously we see in high level Brazilian jiu-jitsu with the gi specifically. It's all about who can pull the guard fast, who can pull guard faster. Which is,
the main thing is I can't get my white belt, so I got to call it catch wrestling until I get a white belt. So.
Gotta call it catch wrestling.
Right.
Now, Chris, you don't understand this. If you say catch wrestling around jiu-jitsu guys, they lose their shit. So
not me, man. I'm like, I think it's
fucking catch wrestling, and
I guess I'm not a jiu-jitsu guy then, man. I believe in whatever works, man. And my criticisms of jiu-jitsu are that if you teach everybody to pull guard, you're no longer teaching a martial art. You're not teaching self-defense, and you're not teaching people how to fight. You're teaching them how to win a sport match.
Now, all martial arts are derived from something, and they're derived from jiu-jitsu was derived from wrestling, and then Japanese jiu-jitsu. Helio wasn't big enough to do the strong movements, so he did a lot of stuff up his back and modified it to Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So when you start talking about catch wrestling, I remember talking about catch wrestling to JW when I trained under him, and he just would kind of lose his shit on me. So it's one of
more
those
of a big
things,
guy sport. It's a bigger guy sport. It's a power sport.
There are moves that work really well. I use some catch wrestling moves that I learned, and maybe they're not catch wrestling moves, and I learned them from a catch wrestling DVD or a book or something to the fact of that, and it's called Catch Wrestling the book. But it works. Some of it works. Head scissoring works, shit like that works. Wrist locks that weren't so much used in jiu-jitsu, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu when I was coming up, they're used now, but I learned them from catch wrestling books and shit like that. So
shit, one of my students finished his second to last MMA fight, his last one in St. Louis. One of my Army kids, real good friend of mine, Josh Weston, finished a fight in at the GFL in a fucking STF. So what that is it's you got the guy. It's called like a step over toe hold face lock combination, where you put the guy belly down, you have his leg pinched behind, so you're like kind of doing a calf crush while you're putting on kind of a crippler crossface at the same time. You'd see it in pro wrestling all the time. And he felt like a dick finishing him with the neck crank, so he actually just went ahead and threw on the rear naked choke from the position. But he had the STF set up. And he had the FTF set up on the leg crush with the rear naked choke at the same time. That's how he finished the fight.
Now, when Hughes choked out, who did he choke out? What did Thiago Silva? Is that who he choked out? Who did he choke out?
Oh no, he actually he choked out Ricardo Almeida.
Yeah, Almeida. Now is that considered catch wrestling, or is that
Well, basically, it's considered dirty amateur wrestling. That that was one of those things where guys, because you're allowed to squeeze hard when you have the arm in wrestling, as you guys know. So guys have been known to, if you can catch the angle correctly, to choke people out, roll them over, and then pin them. In wrestling, it's something that was it Mark Schultz did in international competition, and he was shaking the guy, moving him around, making it pretend, like trying to pretend like the guy was still awake, but he choked him unconscious. So that's actually something that you see in amateur wrestling, is that arm and guillotine variant where he's turning the angle right there, and if you can catch the angle correctly, you put a guy right to sleep, roll him over, and pin him.
Head and arm choke. And I mean, there's every country, I think, has some sort of form of their grappling with submissions. I mean, in England, it was called hooking, and there's all sorts of shit like that. So people that got pissed
hooking's
about
called something else.
Fuck off. You know damn well.
Is Shelby Graham still an amateur, or is he a pro?
No, he turned pro.
Does he fight around here any, or?
Last time I heard, he was trying to do something up in Chicago and possibly moving out that way. I guess, I don't know.
Oh, I was just wondering.
Who knows? Why we bring up Shelby Graham?
No,
I
just heard somebody mention him at the gym today, and they looked to me for an answer, and I don't know. I see him on Facebook saying he's doing a lot of appearances and all this cool shit that like really big top dog fighters do, and I was just wondering if he was, I don't know. I'd never seen him fight around here too often, so I didn't know if he's doing something on another scene where he's out at clubs doing promotions and stuff like that, or if he's winning in professional fights or what.
Sometimes it's better to talk a good game than to have a good game. Not to say that he's not a good fighter or anything like that. His record as a pro is 1-4. It's a rough record. But I mean, looking at guys like Dave Callow, that's not necessarily an indicator of skill set. Dave Callow's probably, and I don't know if he's had any pro fights since he fought Kirk Huff. He's probably the toughest 0-4 guy I've ever seen. He's just, got thrown right to the wolves right out of the gate. And
you credit that to, is that bad management?
I think that's a mistake in management for sure. But I think it's one of those deals is, we want a pro fight. They're like, we want a pro fight. Okay, well, here's who we have. It's Javon Wright. And, Javon's a good fighter, and he lost that fight. And then, he certainly had the experience going into the match with Huff, but Huff's jiu-jitsu was too much, even though Huff completely froze on his stand-up, and Huff's fought internationally in Muay Thai before. And he froze on his stand-up, just got nervous, had everybody there watching him, and, was like, it's my pro debut, so I have to do everything correctly, and just put way too much pressure on himself, shut down on his striking, but was able to rely on his jiu-jitsu and get the win anyway. So I can't really, obviously if somebody's 0-4, that's an issue. That you gotta, you gotta get up some better fights than that.
I would love to see Shelby at our gym training with the guys at a weight class that'd be good for him. I know you wouldn't But if Shelby were to work with
Whoa,
guys,
wait, what do you mean I wouldn't? I like the guy. He knocked out
I can see your eyes,
James
motherfucker.
Motter's head.
You know
Hey,
you're on video, right?
He knocked out James Motter's head, and that dude talked more shit than anybody I think I have ever known. So I like Shelby Graham. I was just curious because I've seen, I haven't seen him fight around here, and I know he said that he fights from 145 to 185 or whatever, and I didn't know if he's fighting around here, if he's on some bigger shows up Chicago or wherever. Because, like I said, I've seen that he put some stuff about doing promotions and heading out of town. So I didn't know if he was on a bigger scene, or maybe he had a few connections at a bigger show or what.
Yeah, selling yourself's an art. Selling yourself's an art, that's for sure. Yeah, Motorhead's great though, man. That guy is the best unintentional comedy ever. It's like, it makes me sad I don't have Facebook anymore. I used to love to get underneath his skin, and he would talk mad shit, be like, I bet I can armbar you in the first round. And I was like, only if I'm tired from fucking your girlfriend. And yeah, like, he's trying to get into like a freaking Facebook war with me, and I'm not to pat myself on the back, but I'm like, and of course I'm always picking on the shitty fighters. It's like, you're never gonna hear me go talk shit on GSP or something like that. I'm not gonna, hey, fuck you, Jake Collier. Hey, no. I'm not gonna go talk that shit. But like, I would never start it, but they would always just be saying, like, guys would just say the stupidest shit. And no one had any idea when I was this James Benton. And hell, like, a lot of people, like, a lot of people didn't know who I was anyway, because I had been gone for years working with the Army. So,
and then plus, like, now you cut your hair off now, so you're way more badass now. So they wanted to fuck with you when you had long hair, but now.
Oh God, it was great. Ronnie Harper, like, it was the last show that before we got kicked off of when we were doing the web show, we had 3 episodes that are buried. They're not even public viewable right now. It sucks. But yeah, I was like, and I was not even really talking bad shit on Ronnie Harper at all. I was just kind of playing around a little bit, and he got on his Facebook. He's like, "Who's this long hair faggot?" And I was just kind of like, and people were like, "Hey, dude, if you don't know, then you're fucking nobody." If you don't know, you're fucking nobody.
It took me about one fight. When I started fighting over in Missouri, I seen this long-haired guy that looked like Jesus. I was like, "Who is this guy?" They're like, "No, that's Jesus. You should see this guy on the ground. He's a." I'm like, "What the hell?" Then I started seeing him all the time. Like, son of a bitch, it is Jesus.
Yeah. I started to come back. Yeah, I was gone for a long time, but eventually I returned.
I seen him. He come to a fight show with Ninja Turtle pajamas on. I'm like, "Who's this guy? Like, who's this fucking guy?" And they're like, "A guy that will fuck everybody in here up." And I'm like, "Okay."
You found Ninja Turtle pajamas that fit you?
Oh yeah. I got. The pants were kind of short. They kind of ended up being high waters pretty quick.
Hey, you don't fuck with a guy that shows up to an event in Ninja Turtle pajamas. You don't.
Oh, I had a headband on. We all had matching headbands on. We were wearing ridiculous shit and walking to the ring and just being idiots. It was a bunch of Army guys. But I actually, that was a really funny night because there were so many like drunken idiots at the show we were at. I'm not gonna say what show or anything like that, but there were a bunch of drunken silly idiots, but they were all nice people having a good time. They weren't starting shit. It wasn't a bad environment. But one of my dangerous friends, not one of the coaches, is seeing some really, really nasty action, started getting a little PTSD, and I had to pull him out of there before he fucking started freaking out and flipping tables and started beating the shit out of people. He was he started staring people down and just going, "I don't like that person's living right now." He's like, "What a piece of shit. What a piece of fucking shit. Look at that asshole." And I was like, "Dude, we got to get him out of here." I gave him, it was my fault. I gave him like a cocktail, and dude, he flipped a fucking switch. We were lucky because at that same show one time there were some rowdy people that like to talk shit. That would have been the wrong fucking crew of dudes to talk shit to, man. That specifically the fucking guy I was talking about. He's like 275 fucking pounds of fucking like roided up fucking awesomeness, man. He's not fighting or anything like that. So he's like, I mean, he's not fighting. He's coaching and stuff like that. But
that PTSD 1,000-mile stare is a scary thing. I don't know why people would want to fuck with that.
I mean, no one was doing anything wrong. No, I mean, it was unjust, but he just started, but sometimes you're gonna trip out. I mean, his deployments and shit like that were like, Like, I mean, well, he had multiple deployments, but he wasn't in the later war, man. He was like boots on the ground as a fucking 11 Series Bang Bang fucking dude, 11 Bang Bang infantryman, in like 2003 and shit like that. And yeah, he's fucking some shit up, man. So he's really aggressive. He doesn't have that breakdown and fucking cry version of the PTSD where guys just like fucking completely lose their shit. It like he has his like he fucking starts fucking knocking people's heads in. So
Shout out to the troops, man. Hell yeah. Shout out to the troops for sure.
yeah, I'll tell you what, though, most of the kids that I had totally very well adjusted guys, and what kept them well adjusted was having the fights. You know, they come back immediately when they came back from deployment in Afghanistan. They would go right to the fight house and start training. Because what happens with a lot of guys is when they come back, they got their wartime pay and they're like, fuck it. They try to decompress, but all they end up doing is drinking, gaining 30 pounds, and then they have all these emotional issues that come along with the trauma that they faced. The guys, and we've talked about this when we were talking about bullying and things like that. The best thing for people when they go through trauma like that, man, is a fight gym, and that's why we see such a good turnaround from guys who've experienced or maybe have not been the best people in their past turn out to be great people by coming to a gym, because you know, getting in there and getting your ass kicked and learning the value of what you're doing and having such a good, you know, hobby and physical activity that's burning off all that steam really balances people out. So it's always hilarious when you know, have critics of the sport that we're involved with saying that it teaches people to be more violent. If anything, it saves fucking people, certainly more than fucking prison does.
Correct. Absolutely. I mean, I know at least two of these guys on here are douchebag street fighters. So
It saves fat kids, huh, Chris?
Yeah, bastards.
All right, guys.
Can I get one? I know you got the insight. I don't want to sound like a douchebag or anything, but any update on Lance Benoist on how the leg's going and if he's going to be getting back at it anytime soon?
He's supposed to be pretty soon, but the healing process was not going well. I know he's working out, trying to stay healthy, trying to stay smart. You know, he looked like he was in good shape. He was running around with his shirt off at the last time that they were at the House of Rock playing the band, the Cauliflowers. They were playing, and it was. And he looked like he was in good shape. As far as like last time I talked to him, specifically about the leg was about a month ago, and he was saying it's still kind of slow healing. It's just, it don't feel right. It's slow healing. So, you know, hopefully we'll get to see him soon, and you know, he'll get to go out there and right some of the wrongs and get focused and get in there and get a great fight in the UFC for St. Louis and for his team and for himself.
Tough son of a bitch, man. Tough son of a bitch.
Oh yeah.
Love that kid.
Yeah, if anybody wants to see how tough Lance, go find a copy of his fight with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle broke his nose, and Joe Rogan saying, "Oh no, he shouldn't be breathing out of his nose right now. He shouldn't breathe out of his nose because it's gonna cause the blood to run." And he started spitting blood in Riddle's face, and of course Riddle's such a nutball. He started laughing and thought it was fucking hilarious. As he was trying to armbar Lance, and Lance just started dripping blood and snot and shit in his mouth and face. And
speaking of which, did you see Riddle retired today?
Yeah, Riddle retired today. He got a rib injury, and Bellator's not going to be able to use him for the rest of the year. So he's like, "Fuck it, I can't afford this. I'm out." I don't think that'll stay.
I'd hope not, because it's a fucking shame.
I got a firsthand view of how tough Lance is, man. I got a chance. He helped me out when I was fighting Sal Woods, and yeah, man, dude's nasty. So
yeah, he's yeah. You know, if there's two kinds of people, smart people and tough people, he's not the smart kind.
Yeah, so I know that other shit was all in the past, but firsthand, Lance is a tough dude, man. He definitely humbled me really quick with how good he was, and I heard that he was just a ground guy, and then I started getting punched in the face and Sid Gee kicked to the face and shit like that, and you know, tough dude, man.
His original background's Taekwondo.
Yeah, he's got some nasty kicks that come from some nasty angles, and you know, being a lefty, being the first time I ever sparred with the lefty, me and his straight got to be real good friends.
Isn't that shit so frustrating? Fuck left-handers. Fuck
Yeah.
left-handers. Fuck Andrew Sanchez's talent. We got to wrap this shit up, guys. Bo Kunz, give us a prediction for this weekend.
Chris Heatherly, first round stoppage. Just
Motherfucker!
But your fight, douchebag.
complete domination. Complete domination. Mine.
Fluke.
And back to freezing. Wow.
Anthony Livingston said, "Take that, bitch."
Anthony Livingston has already shut Bo Kunz down. He said first round KO. Chris Heatherly, give us your prediction for this weekend.
I'm gonna just say it'll be a statement. I'll leave it at that. I'm definitely coming out to make a statement.
Understatement or statement?
It'll be a statement. They will say that Canada did not slow Chris Heatherly down. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm ready to. Most fighters after their loss, they're not looking to fight. 2-3 weeks later. I got a chip on my shoulder right now, and I'm looking to definitely make a statement.
Right on, man. It's good to hear. Good to hear. We got some great fights this weekend. You guys need to go out to Hollywood Casino and watch that fight. Hopefully, nothing gets fucked up, and with the promotion goes pretty good, and we have a new promotion that putting on quality fights in the area. If not, I should say they're not new to the pro scene. Hopefully, everything goes well. But if not, we have lots of great promotions that you guys can come back to. We've got obviously we've got Shamrock, we've got Cage Championships, we've got Fight Hard, we've got Fight Hard's gone completely amateur. We've got we of course got Jim Jenkins. We've got Rumble Time. I'm of course partial to Jim Jenkins because I think that he does he treats fighters very, very well, and I'd like to see that. But everybody, I'll tell you what, all the promoters out there are doing a damn good job of what they have to and what they're working with, and like if you guys and for you guys that are not fans of Shamrock, because it's kind of like Burger, St. Charles, Moggy, MMA, kind of central over here. I'd say, man, they put on a hell of a show. They really have a clean show. So if anything, we need to get some of the kingpins from over there and getting them mixing with some of the kingpins on the other shows, because we had some great fights in St. Louis, and hopefully we'll eventually get to see those. But we do have some great ones this week. We've got Josh Weston from Finney's MMA versus the stumpy one, Chris Heatherly, coming back to make a statement from Burgers. Fit or Fight, fighting underneath Steve Berger. We've got Burger's good. Okay, we'll call it Burgers.
Thank you. Please shoot me if someone else calls it Fit or Fight.
Sorry. I was just trying to get it right.
I'm against that fucking name, but
we've got Bo the Statue Kunz fighting Anthony Livingston. He's been a great contributor for this show, which was interesting considering that I know that he wanted to do this for a little while, and then he sat there and didn't talk. I'll tell you what, next time we have you on, Bo, I'm going to get you so fucked up that you start talking all kinds of mad shit. Jesus Christ, I swear, it's like you're watching fucking TV over there.
Hey, check out www.fuckmattfrazier.com.
Peace out, Stump Leaves. All right, guys.
I will say real quick that it is awesome that Finney's allowing his guys to come and fight on other shows now too. So
yeah, it's all coming together, guys. We've got some great things happening. A lot of great fighters, a lot of great shows.
I agree. I think some awesome things are about to happen in St. Louis in the next year.
For sure, a lot of guys coming up.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been fun. I know I didn't talk a lot, but
I didn't know your microphone worked.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I'm broke tonight. So I'll catch you guys.
All
right. And we also like to thank Bo's son, Austin, for saving the day and actually getting this set up. This has been another edition of MMA Sucks. Everybody go fuck yourself.
Fuck your medicine.